live on the YouTube. Say hello to YouTube, everyone. Yee 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 yee. All right, now we can post these. Post blue sky now. H. We exceed because of this link here. Alright, post. And then we post on YouTube. I also don't think we could start this stream shirtless either, so I don't think that will be a good idea for on the YouTube end of things. So that redeem is on mute as well. Alright, guys? We don't want to get in trouble with the YouTube overlords. We are trying to get the things. Alright. Girl, yeah, you can. You can be here for this. It's all good. Alright, let me see if I set this up right. Cover dog. Alright, it's enough to cover the text. Yep. Alright. All that's set. We're live on the YouTube end as well. Let me just make sure the connection's going good. Are we in hell or is this echo? Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Alright. Everyone can hear me? Music's good? Going live and clear? Alright. So with that being said, hello. We are getting back into it, guys. Scene 3. Last where we left off, we just had our multiple instances of our quote-unquote psychic abilities as we've come to understand the deaths of a couple of ghosts here and there. We witnessed a ghost taunting us, or some other thing taunting us, by showing off our boyfriend being unalived. And I'm not... Rez, I don't think I'm allowed to do that on here. What do you mean burn? They can't hear the audio. No one on YouTube can hear the BikuBot audio. Stop burning. Stop burning my clothes. No, we're not allowed to take those off. We're immune today. But yeah. That being said, let me just get these dealt with. Oh no. Refunding that to complete the rest. Can I get back the refund though? Yeah, I should have sent you back the refund. Yeah. Alright. So, that being said, remember guys, all redeems are off. And will be refunded after this. No one can hear the audio, but it will distract me. That's about it. Okay? Just a heads up. You know what? While we're here, we'll get rid of a couple of these real quick, and then I will go back and turn them on in a bit. Alright, so that should have just kept it to that. I'll be able to hear the horror one, so you guys can jump scare me all you want. So yeah, alright, you guys ready? We're going in. We got this. Devon sighs as he watches Artie squat down behind his Jeep, examining the wheels balanced above the cracked and dusty asphalt. Oh boy. Did I give him a Sheesh! How do you manage to do this? It looks like you're literally drove straight off the road. Devon sighs deeply as he stands next to Cameron, practically fantasizing about getting into the beat-up sedan and escaping this hellish town. They're so close to getting out of here, and the bear just wishes he could pick them both up and toss them into the car. Sure, he could technically do that if he wanted to, but that obviously isn't reality. Whoa. He just knows that to go against Cameron's wishes right now would be devastating to the coyote and their relationship. All he can do is ride this out and hope that they'll be on their way within an hour. Devon notices the silence after Artie's question, and the cat is looking up expectantly. Not wanting Cameron to be put on the spot, the bear clears his throat. We thought we saw something on the road and swerved. It was probably just a rock or something. Artie looks back at the road where there definitely isn't a rock. Dev sees Cameron rub his arm self-consciously out of the corner of his eye. It was in the middle of the night, so shadows and shit. Huh. Hard to imagine you overreacting like that, Dev. Glad you guys are okay, though. Must have been rough looking at how deep the tires went. It was. Hey, how long do you need to recharge for the drive? I can take the wheel if you were too worn out. Ha! Right, after you crashed your own car. It was in the middle of the night! Hey, I'm just playing, dude. Chill. Artie raises an eyebrow at the bear, glancing at Cameron. Are you guys alright? Kind of feels like I've walked into a fight or something. Deb massages just above his eyes with a thumb and the middle finger. No, I'm just really tired. Man, we were up most of the night. Artie then looks to Cameron, waiting for a response from the coyote. Dev tries not to bristle at the implication that Cameron might have a different response. Yeah, we're just tired. I think walking around a bit would do us all some good. Oh, yeah. Last time I went ghost hunting with Dev, it was a real spooky, even though we didn't see anything. One of my top 10 highs, in fact. Highs? Artie jogs back to his car. I got some oil We're not gonna talk about what sound just happened right now. I got some oil cartridges from the dispensary on our way here. You guys want to hit? Dev's stomach turns as he watches Artie grab a vape pen from the passenger seat. Nah, we're good, man. Now, I don't know if it's a good idea for you to do that and drive away. Drive anyway. Are you high right now? Actually? No! I'll have come down by the time we're done looking around. Devon can't manage to say anything more before Artie takes a deep, long pull from the pen, a red light on the tip pulsing to life in time with the intake of his breath. How do you know if I'm good? Cameron's voice is low. Dev almost doesn't hear it. What was that, honey? You just said we're good, without even asking me. Devon doesn't know what to say anyway, because Cam just doesn't do drugs. The coyote would even joke that he's straight edge. I just thought... Dev struggles for words as Artie looks at Cameron. Then Devon... Then back again as he continues to hold the vape he inhaled. Anyway, I don't mind taking a hit, if that's okay with you, Artie. Artie exhales loudly and holds out the pen to Cameron. Yeah, of course, dude. Dev stares incredulously, the disbelief building until he can't hold it back. Cameron, what are you doing? Artie looks at Dev with wide eyes, but Cameron only spares him a glance before plucking the pen from Artie's paw and taking a deep pull from it. Dev stares at the pulsing red light, then at Cameron's face, whose eyes are closed. Dev can't tell what Cameron's thinking right now, but whatever it is, Devon knows this isn't the behavior of the coyote he's gotten to know over the years. It's juvenile. And Cameron is usually more mature than the bear when it comes to stuff like this. Okay, I'll just play along like everything is fine between you two. Either way, maybe we should just go. Dev feels his chest loosen a bit with a relief at hearing those words, at hearing some sense from someone other than himself, but Cameron frowns and opens his mouth. Instead of words, he begins to cough explosively into his elbow, seemingly unable to catch his breath. Hey, you alright? Dev walks over to Cameron, rubbing his back. Yeah, that's normal, especially with a big hit like that. You handle your weed pretty good? He doesn't smoke weed, dude. That's why I assumed... I smoked plenty back in high school. Never hit one of these, though. Cameron seemed to be catching his breath finally. That's harsh as fuck. The worse than a blunt. You get used to it. Besides, you only need to hit a few times to get high. Should I take another then? No, you shouldn't. Cameron narrows his eyes at Dev. Why are you acting like this, Dev? It's just marijuana. I never complain when you drink. Because this isn't like you at all, Cameron. Dev has been holding the conversation back from becoming personal, if only because Artie is here, but at this point, he can't stop himself. He's starting to wonder if all of this goes deeper than he'd like to think. In the awkward silence that follows, Artie quietly takes the pen from Cameron. Well, I think one hit is good for now, especially if this is your first time smoking in a while. Let's just see how you feel in 20 minutes. He pauses and tilts the pen in his maw towards Devon. Well, this man's possessed. He is actually possessed now. Because as a recovering drug addict in this character, I don't believe he would even touch anything like that. Are you sure you're good? I know we only got tied together a few times, but I don't want to feel left out. No, it's not my thing. Devon looks at Cameron. You told me back in college it wasn't your thing either. That's the only reason why I said we were good. Sorry, man. No problem. It's just been a while, so why not have a go, right? Dev sighs loudly and folds his arm, shaking his head in resignation. I guess so. Artie quietly takes another hit off the pen before tossing it back in the car. If it makes you feel better. Artie puffs out his cheeks as he lets out his breath. Shit's a lot safer than alcohol. Or most any drugs, really. Not a vape pen. Those get highly addictive. Oh, spare me, dude. I'm not in the mood for stoner talk right now. It's true. I think it's physically impossible to overdose on it. That's not the point, Cam. It's more mentally fucky, you know? Artie shrugs. Depends on the person. I think Cameron's old enough to know what's good for him. Artie keeps his tone light, but Devon feels himself actually bristle at that. It's like he's being made out to be a controlling boyfriend. So the bear just looks away in frustration. It doesn't matter what the cat thinks. While Artie was a good friend in college, he didn't know that much about Devon and Cameron's relationship, or Cameron's past. The bear knows his coyote, and this isn't like Cameron at all. He just hopes that whatever it is going on with his boyfriend will stop when they leave the town. Hopefully. Cameron stares across the lake, noticing how light blue of the water almost perfectly reflects the blue of the sky. Is that why lakes are blue? Because they're just a reflection of what is above? And that's why it becomes dark and murky when the weather is cloudy? Oh, shit. That's crazy. The seemingly profound realization is what makes Cameron suddenly realize that he's very, very high. At first, Cameron finds it funny and he laughs out loud, only to stumble over nothing as his limbs suddenly feel intensely heavy. God, oh my god, it's that lake in your island. It is. My goodness. Whoa! What was funny suddenly becomes somewhat alarming, and the coyote's giggling dies away almost instantly. Cameron quickly walks back to the road where Dev and Artie are trying not to look like his legs are both 50 pounds heavier. It doesn't help that his jeans are still a bit damp, and the feeling of the soggy denim on his fur incredibly unpleasant. Just a minute ago, he'd walked to the shore to put his clothes back on, and everything had been fine. Now he's in a different world. He leans back against the car, folding his arms, trying to ignore the intensifying gravity. Fuck! He's never been this high before. His 16-year-old self would be able to handle this no problem, but the shroom trip he went through sometime during junior year had almost ruined most reality-distorting drugs for him. Even when he smoked the cheap, weak bud his friends provided through high school, he would still come close to freaking out. But he always had an oxy back in those days to calm himself down. Or at least whatever benzo he managed to steal from his mom's medicine cabinet. Now, there's nothing between him and feeling like time and reality are completely fucked. Permanently fucked? Like how shrooms permanently fucked his sense of self? Can we do that? No. Stop, you stupid fucking idiot. Oh, shit. I blinked once. You're stop psyching yourself out and man the fuck up. Oh my god. My mouse is moving everywhere and anywhere all at once. My goodness. Dev has been right, of course. What the fuck was he thinking? Well, he knows what it is he's been thinking. Well, he made a fuss about Dev answering it for him. In reality, it had been a spur-of-the-moment decision. Because when Artie offered the pen, he remembered that seeing things always become easier when he was high. It wasn't really a positive part of being high, but if he's going to be doing this psychic shit, maybe he should experiment with it more? He feels very different about it now. Weed seems like a good, harmless way to test his experiment 10 minutes ago. But now, Cameron is questioning if weed even triggered supernatural stuff for him in the first place. He was always on other stuff whenever he smoked weed, after all. Opioids, stimulants, dissociatives, and definitely hallucinogens, like shrooms did the trick. But for obvious reasons, he's never going back to try those things again. He just needs to relax and be aware if something happens. Oh yeah, he's blazed. Cameron opens his eyes, looking towards Artie in confusion. Babe, you alright? Coyote looks at the bear, still confused. What's wrong? I just asked if you were feeling okay. You were totally spaced out. Artie, just stop freaking him out. Everything is fine. Alright, Cameron? I am fine. It's you acting like something's wrong that's freaking me out right now. We are kind of being buzzkills, Devon. I hate Arturo. Shut the fuck up. You got the water? Let's get some drink. Devon takes Cameron's paw. Sorry, let's just get water, okay, honey? Seeing Dev transition from frustration to concern immediately makes Cameron feel better. While he had acted rebellious to somewhat disguise his intention, he doesn't actually want the bear to be mad at him. He'll explain to Dev later why he did this, if it actually ends up working. Just telling him right now, with Artie right here, would be way too complicated for his brain right now. Drugs hold a lot of baggage for him, like they would for any former addict, and Cameron doesn't doubt that Dev is not pleased in the slightest with what he's doing right now. For now, he squeezes Devon's paw in his own, and smiles as the bear squeezes back. Cameron giggles. Holy shit! I've never been this high before. And that was a single mouth hit? Oil cartridges are insane. Yeah, I swear it gets more potent every year. I'm not surprised it knocked you on your ass. Cameron vacantly watches Dev climb into the rear of the Jeep, grabbing their plastic bottles and one of the gallon jugs of water. How long is the come up? Am I gonna get more high? Only if you take another hit. You want to? Dev looks up from unpacking their food and water, biting his lip, but Cameron shakes his head. Nah, I'm good. Just wondering. So just relax. You'll start coming down within the hour. That sounds good. One time I did shrooms and I was stuck in it for like 8. It felt for like forever. Like literally forever. Ugh. No thanks. That shit freaks me out. I'm not into that stuff that changes you for good, you know? Yeah, it definitely changed me. Not in a good way. I mean, some people change for the better, but others just kind of end up mentally fucked up, and that was me. Oh, no shit. What'd it do? Just, the idea was a few nasty tasting mushrooms can just change your entire universe, makes everything feel fake, I guess? Like, everything that makes us who we are, our brain signals or whatever, can be so easily manipulated. You realize that nothing's real. And for my friends, that was something that's actually motivated them to be better people. For me, I just cared less and less. The weed is making him open up about things he normally wouldn't, and the coyote isn't sure if that's a good thing. Sure, it opened up my mind, but no one ever tells you that you can't close it when you're done. You can't ever close it. I should have listened when they told me I needed to be in a good place for it to have a good impact on me. I wasn't in a good place at all. The stress of the past day, on top of remembering the traumatic event, makes Cameron's eyes well up. Probably also because of the weed. Oh my god, I burped. Sorry. Hey, dude, are you okay? Tears spill over, and now he's truly crying. Despite knowing it must look ridiculous, it feels meaningful and poignant. A good cry. It doesn't make it any less embarrassing. Devon, with an expression both worried and exasperated, pauses in his rummaging for water and food to rub Cameron's arm and kiss the side of his head. I'm sorry. I thought this would help me see ghosts. I don't even know why I did this. I wasn't mad at you at all. Devon studies Cameron closely for a moment, and Cameron's blood runs cold at the thought of that. For whatever reason, what he just said is fucked up enough to make Devon question why he's with the crazy canine in the first place. But Dev quickly goes on as if Cameron didn't say anything. Sit down and have some water, honey. He holds up a green plastic bottle filled with water, and Cameron drinks from it loudly. And food. Devon pushes a bag of jerky along with a box of cheese crackers towards Cameron. Why is Devon always so nice when he's such a dick? Thanks, Devon. I'm sorry, I'm such a piece of shit. What? Honey, where did this come from? I know that's something you wouldn't say, but I'd rather you tell me when I'm being awful. I don't want to go back to the way I was. It was quiet for a moment. Well, this got you that fucked up, huh? That's all you gotta say, Artie? Dev doesn't sound angry at Artie anymore, much as to Cameron's relief. Just very tired. Still, this is pretty standard stuff, especially when you got low tolerance. I'm not trying to be a dick when I say that I'm actually a little jealous. Correct me if I'm wrong, Cam, but it looks like cathartic as hell. You're not being a dick. It's just not a smart thing to say right now, Arturo. Art's right. I feel really in touch with my feelings right now, and... Cameron absentmindedly shoves a cracker into his muzzle and stops. The salty, savory flavor so satisfying that he has to use all of his focus to appreciate it. Fuck, that's good. Arturo laughs. Cameron shoves a strip of jerky that's lightly seasoned with hot sauce into his mouth. Combining the flavors, he just moans again. Devon sighs in a defeated but accepting sort of way. It makes Cam feel even better. That even though he did something stupid, Devon seems to understand. Hey, let me in on some of that. Alright, but eat slow. The food is for survival, not for your munchies. We'll be out there by noon, Dev. Relax! We got this. Devon sighs as he leans up against the tailgate, covering his face with his paws, then grunts with annoyance as he has to remove to let Artie by. Trust me, I'm trying. Oh my god. Seeming to disregard Devon's advice to take it slow, Artie starts cramming jerky into his muzzle, moaning like Cameron. Snacks are so much better when you're high versus like an actual meal, you know? Cameron doesn't know, but nods enthusiastically. I can't believe this. Devon's tone is one of actual disbelief. Arturo glances lazily at Cameron. Is Devon being a fucking Nazi about everything new? Or have you been putting up with this for a while? It's weird after knowing how he acted in college. Cameron leans against the tailgate, smiling at Devon. I've been doing some dangerous shit during our investigation, and Dev is just trying to keep us safe. He's wonderful, and I love him. Devon looks at him and just gives him a small smile without saying anything. Oh, you gonna let me in on what's going on between you two? Because I think we can all admit that it's been super awkward so far. Hasn't it though? This must be fucking weird to you. They both laugh, and the obnoxious snorts that Cameron only make him snort louder. It's just not really something you need to know about. I know that sounds rude, but I'm psychic. Dev's eyes widen, and Cameron doesn't help to fill the silence that follows. Like, you can see the future, or I can see ghosts, and maybe the future. I don't know really how it works. I'm just trying to figure it out is all. Cameron hadn't really given it much thought, but seeing the future seemed to be part of it. Dude, that's so fucking awesome. Devon shifts around, and Cameron can tell he's not exactly happy about him talking to Artie about this. He has to wonder why. Shit, I think my aunt was super psychic. Super psychic? As opposed to what? Sort of psychic? Nah. She had like those tarot cards and shit, and told half my siblings that were up to shady shit that the cartel was gonna disappear them. Well, did they get disappeared? I mean, one died after routine surgery, but the cartel wasn't involved, as far as I know. That's so sad. I don't know why I laughed. It's cool, I get it. So not really psychic, or at least not like himself. It feels wrong to him, but Cameron feels almost dismissive of anyone that doesn't see things like he does. He's different, in a good way, and for once he feels like he can admit that. He had seen his friend's death a few months before it happened, and he'd had dreams that were so accurate to the future that it had seemed almost like deja vu. I want to go for a walk. Everything looks really neat right now. Though, let's go see some ghosts. Devon sighs heavily again, but helps Cameron down from the trunk, the coyote leaning against him as they start walking. At this point, Devon has resigned himself to the fact that Cameron is going to do what he wants, and all Devon can do is respect this decision. While Artie reminding him more that once that Cameron is an adult had been annoying, it's also true that Devon has no right to take the decision away from Cameron. Still, there's a part of him that's hurt that Cameron would disregard his own feelings on the matter, especially after opening up to him by the lake. But Devon also disregarded Cameron's feelings when bringing him here, at least to an extent. An extent that the bear has thought was reasonable. Now it seems he's reaping what he sowed. Still, Devon remembers and brings up something that should keep them from venturing too far into town. We should only go as far as the motel. Cam and I had a brush with some gun-toting redneck near the other side of town last night. Whoa, really? Cameron giggles. One yelled at us from far away, and Dev ran so hard he got a gnarly cramp in his thigh. Again, he had a shotgun. Doesn't that bother you guys? Artie? Artie shrugs. I've had guys flash their guns at me on the road because I flipped them off. Every one of them is too chicken shit to shoot. And this was even when I flew by old Azuli Blanco on my car. Well, lucky for you, people here don't even know what that is. Now, if I were to mount a Sonoran flag on my Jeep, while also flipping the bird. Anyway, I say we stick around this area, no further than the motel. You should be more careful though, Artie. I swear, I heard a road rage story every few months where someone gets shot. Honestly, if that's my fork in the world, I say let it happen. You got to live! And if that involves getting shot on the freeway because you made fun of someone driving, then so be it. Is it really a fork in the road if the other option is death? Yeah, one of the roads just leads to a dead end or something. I don't know, I'm high as shit right now. I think the metaphor is more appropriate for longer-term consequences, though. Devon just smirks at the meaningless banter about fork in the road metaphors that must seem so profound to them right now. You know, my mom always talks about her fork in the road being in the 5th grade, and that it led to her having a shitty life. Seems kind of young to have a decision like that come up. I think she just likes to be able to point at the moment everything went wrong. But anyway, they'd been hyping up this space shuttle launch for months, and she decided she was going to be an astronaut. She went to the public library for the first time in her life to check out books about astrophysics and stuff. Dev suddenly has a good idea of where this is going. Then, while the whole class was watching the liftoff on TV, it exploded. And even though her teacher turned it off and went about the day like nothing happened, they all knew those astronauts were dead. It made her question all her plans, and she drifted through life after that, not knowing what she wanted to be anymore. Damn, that's fucked up, man. Do you know why that happened, by the way? Cameron gives Dad a confused look, and so does Artie, like they forgot he's even here. Why my mom didn't know what to do? It's because she watched clips of smiling, waving astronauts getting on the space shuttle that then exploded on TV, Devon. Devon sighs, realizing he needs to make things more clear for this high version of Cameron. No, I mean, why that space shuttle exploded. Because the rockets and fuel can cause explosions, right? No, well, yeah, but mainly, Dev refocuses his train of thought. It's because they didn't listen to the engineers. You know the people that stand between you and a pancake shopping mall? Or a freeway bridge collapsing during rush hour? Or an exploding space shuttle? Dev raises his eyebrows meaningfully at Cameron, though weirdly enough, he realizes that he's mainly talking to himself. Always listen to your engineer. His half-assed attempt at making conversation about listening to his advice quickly backfires, though. Well, if those engineers were like the ones in Pueblo, I'm willing to bet more people would have listened to them if they didn't act like such know-it-all pricks. Someone's still sore from having to drop out of their major. Fuck you, too. Hey, come on, guys. We're feeling good right now. You know, Artie, I dated an engineer for 5 years now. They gotta talk down to you to do their job. Cameron walks against Devon and playfully nudges him with a shoulder. Even though Cameron is playing along with what Devon has started, hearing his boyfriend say that actually stings a little bit. Babe, I don't talk down to you. I don't mean to, anyway. Arturo's face makes a face, and Dev does his best to pretend like he doesn't see it. Hey, I'm just kidding. I agree with you. If people let disasters happen because they're too proud to listen to experts, then fuck them. Maybe if they had, my mom would be on a space station right now. Maybe. Mistakes happen, though. They remind us to keep our guard up, because it always slips eventually, you know? I think I do. Dev smiles, pleasantly surprised that Cameron seems to be heeding his advice to be careful. Arturo, you fuck ass. My god. For the first time in a day, he finds himself starting to relax. A little. The end of this bizarre nightmare is in sight. They're already starting to circle back around to the car. You know, it's kind of amazing to think about how you two are still together. That brings Dev out of his reverie rather quickly. Why is that? Well, all of your other friends didn't last more than a few years out of college. And if you think about it, you and Cam are probably the biggest opposites of all those relationships. I think the most important thing in a relationship is getting along. If you can do that for like 99% of the time, you're probably set. That and having different hobbies and spending time apart adds to a healthy relationship. Man, sometimes you sound like a self-help relationship book or something. Maybe that's why. I think it's just that we're both reasonable people. That's usually all you need. Well, I'm really happy it worked out, especially after your first relationship. Honestly, looking back, I was basically setting Cam up to be your rebound. Why the fuck would you say that? Excuse me? I wasn't really meaning to, of course. You know, I forgot how somehow you managed to always say the wrong things at the wrong time, Artie. Well, it has been a long time since, so I'm interested. I just wonder who you were with before me. All you said is that they were like a month-long fling. Artie seems to take this as the go-ahead to reveal. Artie seems to take this as the go-ahead to reveal irrelevant and embarrassing information about Dev's precious love life. It was a fox named Jesus, right, Devon? I never brought him up because the relationship lasted literally 2 months. A fox? Huh. Cameron says it in a contemplative way, in a way that makes Dev uneasy. Even though the coyote is probably just truly curious. Well, yeah, it was short, but when he dumped Dev, like he went the full chick flick route and laid in bed for a week eating ice cream. Was so worried about him that I set the two of you up. Devon's muzzle burned under the fur, even hotter than the heat of the desert. Why did I ever tell you anything in confidence? Well, it's more like I saw it, like the entire dorm did. Is that true, Devon? To Devon's dismay, Cameron sounds genuinely interested now, combined with a genuine degree of concern. You seemed put together when I first met you. Dev avoids answering. It wasn't you that set us up. You mentioned me to your girlfriend's friend, who happened to be Cameron's friend. She set us up. Yeah, you can word it how you'd like, but if I didn't remember them mentioning the super hot guitar coyote, too bad he's gay. Dude, who knows where you'd be right now? Yeah, that's me. And less than a week later, I knew it worked because I walked in on the two of you fucking. Oh god, why are you bringing that up? Yeah, why? Because it was funny. Besides, I walked in on like a dozen people going at it at some point. Hell, even back when the university library was open 24/7, you had a 50-50 chance of walking on a pair of rats getting it on at 2 a.m. Arturo prattles on to Cameron and Devon, while Devon sulks behind a bit. This man, I don't care if he's high, such an asshole, can't read the room. What the hell? The bear finds himself wishing he'd been the one to tell Cameron about all of that. The way Artie described it made him sound unstable, in a way. The fox had been cute, but Devon never really got to know him, before Jesus abruptly broke it off. When he first met Cameron, on the other hand, he was cute and hot, especially with his guitar and voice, but that was just the surface stuff. Cameron was also nice and considerate and thoughtful and complex in a way that the bear is trying to fully understand. Devon had girlfriends in high school, so people wouldn't get suspicious, but the fox? had been what he considered his first real relationship, and he simply overreacted to his first real breakup. Oh my god, I am congested like fuck. I'm sorry guys, 1 second. Looking back on his 19-year-old self, it's hard to understand why it had felt like that, like the end of the world. If Cameron were to disappear from his life now, it would be the end of the world that he knows at least. Maybe if for some terrible reason it did come to an end, he would look back 10 years from now and think the same about his 25-year-old self. But he doubts that. 5 years is a long time, and he plans to spend the rest of his life with Cameron. Unlike that fling in college, losing Cameron would be a traumatic, life-changing disaster. Just thinking about it now makes his throat tighten. The abyss he's felt below his feet since he was 12, that emotional scar left over from the last traumatic event in his life, seems to yawn a bit wider. The bear thinks back to the point he'd been trying to make about engineers helping to avoid catastrophic failures, and why it had felt like he had been talking to himself. There's a moment in which recovery is impossible, where a chain reaction of small disasters are set off that then mushroom into a tragedy. Maybe he'd been reminding himself about what could happen, or maybe he's realizing something that's already happened. Why does it feel like he's already past that point? The point where he made a decision at a literal fork that set in motion a cascade of failures. There's no reason for him to feel that way considering they're minutes away from leaving. But it feels hopeless now. He ignored all the signs and he turned right. Ignored all the signs. Just like all those officials who ignore signs from their department stores, bridges, dams, and spaceships. At least until everything fall apart. Time passes quickly, and bantering with Artie and Devon had made Cameron forget that what he was trying to do in the first place. He wonders if maybe that had been Devon's goal. He should be keeping his mind open, not covering up potential spirits with loud, obnoxious laughs as they reminisce their college days. Because right now he's feeling something strange that he can't explain. Alright, ready to head out? Man, we didn't even find anything scary. You don't look for scary things. You let them happen. And nothing happened, so Cameron can't leave now. Hey, Dev, please don't be mad at me. Dev doesn't say anything and that makes Cameron squirm. You guys are gonna fight again? Can I have like 5 minutes alone, please? No, that's not how you would say it. I'm just mad at Arturo. Ugh. Can I have like 5 minutes alone, please? No. Just 5 minutes, I swear, and we'll be done. Cameron! I can feel something. I don't know what, but you guys are making it hard to hear. Cameron, the motel is right here. I'm not leaving you here. Dev's tone is resolute, so unshaken that Cameron shrinks into himself, realizing he's reached Dev's limit. Artie clears his throat. Not to butt in, but how about this? Me and Dev stand at the end of the road over here so we can see you. Then we can make sure nothing bad happens. No, Arturo, stop it. Shut the fuck up. Please, Dev. I just really need to figure something out and it's gonna bother me forever if I don't. Please? Dev is clearly taken aback by Cameron's intensity, which had been Cameron's intention. Something is wrong, and he needs to confirm it. No, you don't! Is what you're doing safe? Could it hurt you? I don't know. I don't think so. It has more to do with me than ghosts, though. Dev doesn't say anything for several seconds, seeming to be weighing multiple scenarios in his head. Okay, we'll be up the road. Please be careful and yell if you need us. No, just stay there nearby and don't talk. Just don't talk. Don't leave him alone. Okay, thank you. Dev kisses Cameron on the head for a long moment before walking away up the road. Artie looks back and forth, confused, before following Dev. Artie, alone. Alone now. Cameron can tell that something is definitely different. I hate this man so much. I hate the both of them at this moment. Oh my god. Why can't they communicate properly? Alright, I'm getting ready for cover dog, guys. I can't put his finger on it, but it's not just him being residually high. It's almost like he can see more clearly. Like he can see more. Meaning is nothing. Cameron isn't sure what to think about this. The weed is making it happen, though. Just like he hoped it would. I can hear whispers. But it's weak. You can hear the voices of those who pass, just barely playing along the wind. He thinks of trying opioids just once more and how that would truly help him see things. Oh my god, this is horrible. The thought leaves him feeling physically repulsed to the point that he almost retches. The visceral reaction surprising even him. 3 years of substance abuse, the death of his mother, and the death of his friends? Jesus Christ. Fuck whoever's possessing him. If it's fucking Chase, I swear to God. No, Chase lived. I hate this fucker. The death of his friends. He vividly remembers those 2 weeks when he quit cold turkey, hiding away in his friend's basement, in a pool of sweat, shaking, everything, having every bathroom issue possible, wanting to rip through his fur and skin, to run into the street, to run into a car. He cried constantly. He hated himself. He was worthless. He needed to die. He had to die. But at the end of those 2 weeks, he made it. It was hard, but like his friends would always tell him, withdrawals aren't the hard part. The hard part is finding pills in a friend or relative's medicine cabinet months, even years later. The hard part is crushing those pills up in neat little lines of powder, staring at them, telling yourself you don't need it. You don't have to do it. But you do it. You always do it. No matter how many times you get clean, someone like Cameron needed something else to keep him calm. And that's Devon. Because the shame and heartache of Devon finding out wouldn't ever be worth it. But knowing this moment, any moment, can be far better with a single pill. Unfortunately, that feeling will always be there. So no, this is stupid. And he won't touch drugs again, not even weed. The window. At first, Cameron is only surprised. This is something he hadn't seen in months, not since October of last year. That's a claw. Whose hand is that? But still, he kind of hoped this would happen. The creature, this manifestation, is somehow connected to his abilities. He'd always thought it to be mental illness, but now that he knows there's something more to all of this, maybe it's a sign. A harbinger of sorts that might lead him to important visions. Oh my god. Oh my. Oh my goodness. Okay. Okay. Keep going. Still, something about it is especially unsettling this time. Something is wrong. Something is different, and it's more than just the raincoat monster appearing. Arches and half circles. His train of thought cuts off as he noticed a barely discernible movement from the creature. Aside from the handful of moments in the past that felt like glitches more than anything else, the creature never moved. It was always like a cardboard cutout. Oh my god. My allergies are bothering me now. Oh my god. Why? My allergies are going haywire and like making my nose itch like crazy, guys. I don't like this. It was always like a cardboard cutout. It's no longer cardboard though. It's breathing. What's happening? He's not thinking right. This isn't part of Echo. Cameron knows that. So why is it acting different, more alive, as if the town is amplifying it? Oh my god. Maybe it's just the setting, his nerves, the weed, but now he's realizing how strange it is that he's been so relieved to find out he's psychic. Doesn't he still have problems? It's not like all those issues were just solved. Are those the voices of the dead or something else? Are those ghosts or hallucinations? Is there a difference? Suddenly a whole new wave of anxiety washes over the canine. Just like that, he's not sure about anything anymore. He'd had such a beautiful, life-changing epiphany, and now he looks up the road towards where Dev and Artie are, but they're not there, and Cameron stares, wondering what's real anymore. He looks back at the monster standing in the window. If it's a harbinger or something important, you should go into that room. Otherwise, he'll just leave knowing he's crazy, knowing he's on the verge of a fucking psychotic break. Damn it! Damn it! Why am I doing this? And then he's moving for the window, for that monster. The whispers growing and distorting and twisting. Are you watching your boyfriend? Devon watches his boyfriend in distance carefully, feeling his anxiety come down a bit as Cameron just seems to stand there. So, what's the deal, man? Huh? You know what I'm talking about. What happened? Did he see some fucked up shit earlier? Because you seemed really, really worried. For a moment, Devon is glad Artie cuts himself off, but then... Hey! What the fuck? Ah! Artie is already running up the road towards his car. Devon looks and sees a man standing next to it, the hood up. Devon isn't sure what to do first, either go to Cameron or follow Artie. Cameron seems oblivious in the distance, which is probably for the best, and doesn't look like the man's carrying any sort of weapon, so deciding his friend is going to need help, he runs after Artie. No! Don't leave your boyfriend! Oh my god! Dev runs up to the car just as the old weasel-looking man headbutts Artie in the face. Ah! Fucking son of a bitch! Artie stumbles and falls on his ass. Hey! Oh, not him. The weasel regards him coldly, seeming not bothered by the fact that he just used his own face as a battering ram. Hey! Dev doesn't know what to say, mostly because he doesn't know what the guy did. Why the guy just did what he just did. Meanwhile, Artie moans on the ground, a paw to his forehead. That at least gives Dev the starting point. You can't just fucking do that, man! What are you doing? Adjusting things. He shows off a pair of pliers. Devon can hear his heart pounding in his ears as he sees a toolbox balanced on the bumper. Why? Give me that! Devon starts to step forward to take the pliers from the man, but a flash of light blinds him. Dev had never been hit before, not as an adult at least. His size usually deterred anyone from trying anything, and he normally didn't get into those kind of situations anyway. So this moment takes what feels like a long time for his brain to process. He stumbles on his feet, paws uselessly outstretched, trying to refocus when something explodes in his stomach that seems to expand like a balloon under his ribcage. The bear doubles over in shock, feeling the vacuum has opened up in his torso before he falls to his knees. The long, strained sound of agony seemed to go on forever as his diaphragm refuses to work. Only now does he realize he's been punched in the stomach as well, and while he's had the wind knocked out of him before, it's nothing like this. How was that, fat ass? Dev goes on droning in response, a small part of him considering that he might actually suffocate to death. Holy hell, what? Holy hell, man! What the fuck is your problem? Oh, you wanna know? Dev, still with his face toward the ground, only hears movement above him, but that's followed by a gasp from Artie. I I have a problem with you sick fucks like you two dicking around in this place because you think it's funny. I should redo his voice. I know his voice. Dev is now starting to get his breath back, but his eyes are locked on the gun in his face, and his insides turn to water, which has nothing to do with the punch. Where were you 5 years ago, huh? Back home with mommy and daddy, living in your middle-class houses? Thought you'd come out and see what these crazy meth heads are up to? Or how they all killed each other? The man adjusts his grip on the gun, and Dev almost chokes with fear. Either the old man's gonna shoot him, or he's gonna do it on accident. Is this fun? Artie's rough breathing next to Devon is the only thing that lets the bear know that the cat is still here with them. Dude, listen, we didn't mean... You listen, dude! I gave you assholes a whole fucking day to get the fuck out, but you're still here. Since you're so goddamn comfortable, hope you don't mind being stuck here for good. With that, the man turns away, sticking his gun down his pants before calmly collecting his tools, closing the toolbox, and walking off the road, straight through the sagebrush. Holy shit. It's a 7-mile walk to the freeway. I suggest you leave the moment it gets cool. And that's friendly advice. There's much worse out here than me, you stupid fucks. Artie bends over, and Devon, who slowly stumbles to his feet, hunches over, his stomach arching for far worse than his muzzle, which he wipes clean of blood. Fuck, man, what did he do? Artie looks back at the car, and even from here, Dev can see wiring sticking out from the hood. I can't fucking believe this. Hang on, I'm getting cam. Alright, man. I'll see if this thing is even worth coming back for. Devon jogs up the road, grunting with each step, each one sending a jolt through his stomach. While the weasel hadn't moved in this direction, Dev isn't taking any chances. He also needs to make sure the coyote is not there. Cameron! He shouldn't be panicking. Not yet. But that feeling is starting up again after having a gun pointed in his face. Cameron! No answer. Dev heaves for air, looking around until he sees a flash of flannel through the motel window. I'm gonna preemptively put this up, guys. He's next to it in a second, unable to fit, so he pries the boards with his bare paws. Then he pushes through and tumbles into thick darkness. I'm just gonna put that screen up as precaution. Why was this boarded up? Hold up. Hold the phone. Hold the phone. Just to be safe, I'm gonna try to cover both the sides as well, but keep the text box visible. Hold up, guys. Where is it? Hold up. VN overlays. Cover dog. God. It won't stretch. That's not good. Stretch the fit screen. Not even that. Oh my god. Oh, now it does it? Why was it locked before? Yeah, we're just gonna do this. We're just gonna make it wide. Alright. Okay. We got this. We got this, right? We got this. Oh my god. This is horrifying. Despite having seen much worse. Despite having seen this monster in some form or another for over 15 years now, Cameron realizes he never really tried to move towards it. In the beginning, he tried to run away, of course, but it ended up following him. It never moved when he was looking at it, but the second he looked away and back again, it would reappear closer, usually at 20 to 30 foot distance. When he learned to ignore it, it just sort of blended into the background. He almost stopped noticing it. As Cameron squeezes through the boards covering the window, he's only a few feet away from that thing. He realizes that if he makes contact with it, that if it's solid, then he won't know what to think. He'd never even considered that it might be the real deal. But now, as those unnaturally long claws dangle from the sleeves of the raincoat, Cameron starts to worry. As he moves those last few feet, though, Raincoat Monster starts to dissolve into the dim lighting of the room and the coyotes inside. Okay. It happens in a way. Ah! Fuck! Shit! Oh my fucking god. Fucking got feathers. Ugh. It happens in a way that makes Cameron think of a mirage. But the creature is still here, now across the room, against the wall, its ever-present, deranged grin plastered to its dark furred face. Cameron moves towards it again, slowly this time. The creature still seemingly frozen, but in a way a real person would try to appear frozen. The creature is almost like an imitation of the one he's gotten to know so well, the one that almost became a companion of sorts in his childhood. About halfway across the dark, cluttered motel room, Raincoat Monster blends sideways, almost like it's going to do a cartwheel towards the bathroom door. Its heavily clawed hands don't move though, and instead it just keeps bending like a bridge, like an arch. And then it slips into the darkness of the bathroom. Cameron stares, the feeling of unease growing. Don't go in there. That's the same bathroom Chase went in. That's the same bathroom Chase went in. Of course, shit like this always makes him feel uneasy. It makes him feel fucking crazy. But what just happened now, it felt deliberate, like he's being toyed with somehow. Raincoat Monster had toyed with him plenty of times before, especially the first time he saw it. It was his own mind doing it after all. But what makes him feel nervous now is that it seems like there's something else behind it. Almost like whatever was behind his first vision in that other motel room is behind this as well. So, he should leave, right? Whatever that is doesn't seem to have a very good intentions. Why don't you leave, you fucker? You listen to him. Listen to yourself right now, please. All it seems to want to do is fuck with him. If it's the same thing that hijacked his first vision, then it could look like anything. It disguised itself as Dev and said awful things to him. Disguised itself. Was that even a disguise? Is it possible Devon somehow made that call? That would be the most plausible oh my god, the audio. A plausible explanation, aside from the malicious ghost being real, something he'd never believed until now. He trusts Steph, though. Cameron looks at the boarded window. Why did Artie and Devon abandon him like this? Is this part of Devon's investigation still? Is this a setup of some kind, like a test? Cameron continues to just stand in the middle of the motel room, staring around himself. This isn't right. He's not making sense. These thoughts don't make sense. But there are some connections. He can't deny that something about this whole situation is off. The voices, the whispering, it continues to ebb and flow, and there's a slight electronic quality to it. It's not impossible that someone could have planted a speaker in this room to make him think he's hearing voices of a ghost. After all, Devon had been so adamant that he not come back to the motel with him to gather his equipment. That would have been the perfect opportunity. He tries to listen to them, but they blend together and mumble quietly, and he can't make anything out. If this is a setup, then the Raincoat Monster could be a real person. Someone in a costume, or something is wrong. Suddenly thinking itself is becoming difficult. He's still high after all. But at the same time, things are suddenly making at least some sort of sense. If this is some kind of sick joke, that could explain a lot. A distant chuckle breaks through the hushed whispers. It sounds kind of like Devon. Devon? Cameron points his ear towards the bathroom. Artie? Guys? You can't really be doing this to me, right? His voice is weak, unsure, and afraid. Something creaks to his left, and the coyote jumps, staring wide-eyed. Guys? In the back of his mind, Cameron knows that whatever this is, whatever is going inside or outside his mind is not good. He needs to get out. It's quiet. Oh my god, it's so quiet. Suddenly something starts pulling on the boards of the window. Cameron gasps, stumbling back, an explosion of fear taking over in a way that he's never experienced before. Oh, thank god. Cameron, you in there? You're in there, right? You okay? It looks like Devon, but the coyote is moving for the bathroom because he's not completely sure, and even that really is Dev. Cameron pulls the door of the bathroom closed and fumbles with the knob until he finds and presses and pushes the lock, and somehow it still works. Cameron, honey, are you in there? Cameron keeps quiet, pressing his paws to his muzzle, suppressing his instinctual urge to respond. Cameron! Cameron listens to the bear's heavy footsteps on the ruined floor. Then the doorknob to the bathroom vibrates violently. Cameron yelps. Stop! I'm sorry, I need to figure something out right now. There's a pause, one that seems to go on for a very, very long time. What? Devon's voice is equal parts confused and concerned. Baby, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? What happened? I don't know. Why did you guys leave me? Leave you? I'm right here. I looked up the road and you were just gone. Oh, Cameron, something happened. It's a little complicated, but I can tell you about it on the way out. I'm sorry I left when I said I would watch you, but we need to go right now. Something happened. It's a little complicated. Cameron, please open the door. Devon lets out a nervous laugh. You're freaking me the fuck out right now, honey. That only puts Cameron more on edge. That Devon thinks he's the one that's acting strange. You're freaking me the fuck out. Why did you even bring me here? Is Artie here too? Another long, horrible pause. When Devon talks again, his tone has changed completely. Like he's being very careful with his words. Like Cameron is crazy. Honey, can you tell me what's wrong? Did something happen? You tell me, Devon. You're really starting to worry me, baby. Devon's voice cracks. Cameron doesn't know what to say. He doesn't have to think of what to say because at that point something rakes painfully down his back. Like a giant set of claws, and Cameron gasps and then screams as another set of claws grip over the top of his head. He's completely forgotten about the raincoat monster, but even if he remembered, he never thought it could touch him. Cameron, open the door! Open! God damn it! Stand back, Cam! The air seems to explode as the flimsy motel bathroom splinters with ease, Dev having kicked it in. With some light filling the bathroom now, Cameron sees that he's fighting with nothing. He thought it had to be Artie. Suddenly, the bear is grabbing him, trying to hold him, pin him, and Cameron just struggles, trying to pull away. Cameron, what happened? Please, calm down! Just let me go! Cameron is crying now, and it's making him gasp for air. Let's breathe, Cam! No! Stop doing this to me! Just let me go! Doing what to you? What happened? I don't know! I don't fucking know! Cameron struggles, becomes more wild, kicking it out and fighting with Dev's much stronger grip. What the fuck? What the fuck? Dev seems to say to himself, almost in a whisper, as if unable to believe what's happening. Cameron isn't able to either. None of this is real, is it? Huh? Did you set this up to make me believe or something? What? How would I do that? The speakers, costumes, I don't know. Ow! You're hurting me. Devon lets Cameron go finally, though he tries to hold on to him to make him look at the bear. But Cameron takes the opportunity to escape, running right for the window, much easier to get through after Dev's entry. Cameron! I'm sorry, I just need to think. Cameron can hear Devon crying now. But he can't stop. He needs to get out. He needs to get away. He falls clumsily through the window, and as he stands up, he gasps as he comes face to face with Artie. Suddenly he knows how the similar color of his fur is to Raincoat Monster. Whoa, dude, are you okay? What's going on? I can hear you guys yelling all the way. Artie trails off as Cameron backs away from the cat, keeping him in view until he can run away up the road to somewhere that's not here. Fuck. Dev sobs as he fumbles to get out the window, wondering if he's dreaming. This can't be happening. He looks around the parking lot, but all he sees is Artie. Where did he go? Artie points wordlessly and Devon jogs up the length of the parking lot to look around the motel. Cameron is nowhere in sight. Devon stares for a while, hoping to see Cameron pop out from behind one of the dilapidated structures, but he doesn't. Devon, what happened? Something's wrong with Cameron. I know. He looked totally freaked out. Did that method get to him or something? No, I don't know. He's not making sense. He's not thinking right. What do you mean? Devon takes a deep breath, shuddering breath. Still staring, realizing Cam might have already made it to the dirt road off the main street. Devon rubs his face vigorously with both paws. He said something about us setting him up. Setting him up? For what? I don't know. It's like he's not in the right state of mind or something. Devon stops himself from saying completely lost it, because that just sounds wrong. Seeing no sign of Cameron, Devon suddenly feels panic bloom in his chest. What if Cameron is so far gone that he's running off into the desert? He would die. Shit! Are you sure he ran this way? Dev starts walking up the road, looking at each abandoned structure, scanning the desert landscape. All the while, his panic has settled into a dull, persistent feeling of dread, and his crying is mostly under control, just sniffling every now and then. Artie follows behind him. Yeah, I'm positive, man. He was running through. He was running, though. Shit. Hey, he just looked really emotional. Doesn't he have panic attacks? Yeah, but that wasn't just a panic attack. Something else is going on. Has he done this before? No. Isn't he on medication? No, man. He's not on medication. But wasn't he... Dude. This isn't helping anything right now. Sorry, it's just that I'm remembering him telling me that he was on an antipsychotic back in college. Devon's blood runs cold. I think it was just like antidepressants or something. Why would he even tell you? Cameron! Dev's voice echoes hollowly up the street, unanswered. He was on both, I'm pretty sure. He was talking to Maria about it, since she's been on a bunch of them for her bipolar disorder. I think he was just looking for advice on how to deal with the side effects. I was a psych major, so there's that. Were you? Were you? Cameron! Duh. I was a failed STEM major. Behavioral sciences are the next step. Despite... What the fuck? Despite that being something Artie might normally say, it sounds forced, like he's trying to keep the mood light. All Devon can think about right now is how he couldn't have even bothered to know what medication his boyfriend was taking and why. He just knew they made him feel like shit. So when Cameron said he just wanted to stop whatever it was he was taking, Devon encouraged him, and Cameron seemed happier after that. If your antidepressants or antipsychotics are making you that down, that means you are not on the right dosage. That is what most people that I've talked to has said, and what some doctors have said. You're not on the correct dosage if you're not feeling yourself like that. Oh boy. Anyway, I'm not saying he's like schizophrenic. Antipsychotics can be combined with antidepressants, just plain old depression sometimes. I think he's just panicking a little. I probably would if I went into that motel alone. No. Cameron was panicking, sure, but he was accusing Devon of setting him up, or tricking him. Cameron didn't trust him, and that's something Devon has never seen before. And remember, with his tolerance, he probably still pretty high. Could just be paranoid. Devon gasps and Arturo stares at him frozen. Then rage and horror explodes in Devon's chest. The fucking weed! Whoa, what happened? You fucking know he has problems, was on medication in college, and you just let him get stoned? Artie stares. Well, I didn't remember just until just now. And besides, if that's what's making him freak out, it's gonna wear off. No! He said I was tricking him. He didn't trust me, Artie. He said I was planting fucking speakers so he heard voices. Artie continued to stare, but doesn't say anything at this time. Devon does his best to avoid saying what he thinks is happening. That's not just panic. That's more than just that. Fuck, man. His mom died because of this shit. What if he's wandering off in the middle of the desert right now and... When he had researched psychosis, he came across plenty of stories just like this. The way so many of them ended. Devon feels like he's about to throw up. After a few seconds of silence, Artie clears his throat. Listen, we don't know anything yet. But if I caused this to happen, I'm sorry. Either way, I'm going to help you find your man, okay? It's only been 5 minutes. Devon starts to calm down a bit, breathing more evenly. Like I said, my girlfriend is bipolar. And even though I know it's not exactly the same, she had moments like this too, and we always come out alright. So how about we look for 20, maybe 30 minutes? I'm sure we'll find him. If we don't, though, I'm going to run my ass back up the road until I get cell service and call 911, alright? Dev takes a shuddering breath. Yeah, okay, let's go. And with that, we are going to take our first 15-minute break from Arches. Right here. Just let this play out. So, yeah, we're going to take our first 15 minutes right here to take a breather and refill on our drinks. In the meantime, everyone, stay comfy and cozy. We'll be back in 15, all right? Be right back. Okay. We're back. Alright. Let's continue. Let's get my water. One second, guys. Oh my god. I'm so scared. We're getting into the juice of it soon. There's no way. There's no way. Cameron shakes his head back and forth, unwilling to believe that Dev, his boyfriend, the person he loves the most, would do this to him. But why? Devon is the one that wants to leave, that wants to protect him from this nightmarish town. How would this help at all, making all the ghosts stop? Devon truly wants to understand what happened to Lupita, where she is. Nowhere. So, he wants Cameron's visions to be true. Unless it's both? He couldn't have been involved in the vision he had by the lake, right? Or what he heard in the forest? Those were real. Cameron feels it deep down that they had to have been real. He could have made up that recounting of the forest creature or of the girl being murdered. Maybe Devon was worried Cameron would give up if he didn't see anything, and wanted to make sure by hanging himself in the closet? By creating one of the worst moments in Cameron's life? Devon would never do that. Would never think to do that. As he's thinking this, something flickers in Cameron's vision. It's hard to describe, but there's a vividness to what he's seeing. And then the lighting begins to change, just like it did at the lake. The coyote stops, rigid and apprehensive, not really interested to having visions at the moment. He doesn't have a say in the matter, though. This time, the lighting takes on such a surreal, ominous, blood-red glow that even though Cameron thought he was prepared, he definitely isn't. He stands in the unnatural light feeling a little bit sick, but then realizes he's actually someone else. He's actually someone else. Just like when he saw the girl's life end. But he seems to snap into his host and looks down at his body of a creature he can't quite make out. The person he becomes breathe heavily, doubled over, his giant paws on his knees, feeling sick. He never killed someone before. This little fag deserved it, at least. He spits on the body, then realizes he needs to get rid of it. As far as he knows, no one knows that he's here. All the way from Payton, if he can get rid of the body, no one else will ever know that he did it. He prepares himself, finding it easier and easier to come to terms with the murder. The thrill he got from it, the swooping down, feeling in his chest that immediately makes his dick get hard. It's a bit worrying even to him. This is getting a tiny bit too intense for 1:30 a.m. See you tomorrow. Alright, bye Akira. Stay safe. The VOD will always be up on YouTube if you want to try. Thanks for watching. Be safe, okay? The thrill he got from it, the swooping feeling in his chest that immediately made his dick get hard. It's a bit worrying, even to him. With a deep breath, he leans down, but then suddenly feels like he's being watched. Slowly, he looks up. It hovers over the road, watching him. He's seen a handful of UFOs, all of them while he was in Echo. He'd come to realize that it wasn't aliens or whatever the fuck people believed in. It was supernatural or something. Like a ghost. He suddenly thinks back to last week when the space shuttle blew up while his class watched it on TV. He'd been the only one to laugh when it happened. Not really because it was funny, but because it was so unexpected, so boring up until that point. To him, that's the only way space could be haunted with ghosts. But for some reason, he doesn't think anything living, or at least anything that was living, is involved with this. What he realized is that those crafts made of metal, glass, and covered with lights are empty. As far as he's concerned, they're no different than from ghosts. Ghosts that weren't people at all. They're hollow shells, only there to feed on the sick feeling he got when seeing them. Only there to watch him so that the small amounts of guilt he had might grow just a little bit bigger. And tonight, aliens would visit him, to torture him, to violate him. Not really aliens, but the same thing as the ghosts that people see in this town. It's all the same. So he ignores it as he gets to work. And it hovers above his head, even as he feels its red eyes on the back of his neck. Cameron isn't sure what to think right now. A UFO? What? While the shadow creature in the forest had been strange, he hadn't seen it. He only heard someone recounting it. Cameron assumed that the man in his vision wasn't in the right mind, maybe misinterpreted what he was experiencing. But this, a full-blown craft in the sky above a dead body. And Cameron is almost positive he'd been toyed with, like Raincoat Monster in the motel room. It just makes him feel like he's going crazy, and it reminds him that for some inexplicable reason, he thought Dev might be on it. Not even considered that Dev could be involved in this. Besides, even now, despite it being almost completely silent, aside from the crunch of his footsteps on the gravel road, the voices are insistent, even louder. And how could he hide speakers out here, in the middle of nowhere? Now that he's focusing on the voices, he can actually start making out some words, sentence fragments. Singing, they sang. Sin of the cities are always a piece of shit to stop doing. Every time he catches a new voice, it fades away before it finishes what it was saying. Cameron stops so he can hear better, ears up. But the voices fade back to barely noticeable whispers on the wind. Cameron remembers those ghost hunting shows he'd watched a few times, the way they'd always try to communicate. So he clears his throat awkwardly. Hello? Are you trying to talk to me? Do you have something you'd like to say? Cameron isn't sure he should be saying you, because the voices are such a mixture of many. But why would they all congregate on this one dirt road? Either way, they seem to have moved on, so Cameron starts walking again. It's something we should see. You think you're special? Stupid shit. Again, Cameron stops, and so do the voices. Hello? Silence. The words don't even make sense. If the ghosts are trying to talk to him, wouldn't they say something useful? Maybe they just don't like him. And it is a replaying of something in the past. And if it's a replaying of something in the past, why are they just babbling nonsense? Cameron sighs and takes a step. Stupid. The coyote freezes, suddenly making a connection. He looks down at his foot, then brushes it back and forth over the gravel. Stupid sack of shit. Cameron stares. It's coming from the gravel. Sounds of it anyway. A gentle wind tickles over his fur and his ears, and the whispers continue. Suddenly, he's back in his trailer with his mother. He's laying back on the couch, nodding out after snorting his pills. His mother on the other side of the trailer is kneeling amongst the trash. She'd always meticulously clean, emphasizing that while they might live in a trailer, they can still make it look nice. But over the past year, she seemed to care less and less, and now, dishes were used, never cleaned. Boxes of takeout open and left where they were eaten. Cameron himself couldn't be bothered to tidy up. It's easier now that his mom doesn't give a fuck. He can do his drugs right in front of her now. The post-it. notes and strips of fabric tied to every arch his mother spotted, even to things Cameron is pretty sure aren't arches, made the place look like a disaster anyway. What does bother him, though, as he watches her through half-lidded eyes, is the way she looks. Her fur is disheveled and sticking up in different places, and she's in the same clothes she'd been in for a week. She started to have a strange odor about her, but Cameron felt too weird telling his own mother she smells bad. It's sad. He almost wishes she'd scream at him and slap him like she did whenever she found his drugs. Almost. Because right now he feels so good. And she seems happy enough to listen to that fan. Cameron covers his muzzle, heart pounding, listening to the whispering wind. No. No. His eyes blur with tears. He turns around because he's worried someone might be watching him, and his feet scrape the gravel. Sadness seems to always. Cameron covers his ears, feeling the now familiar rising tide of panic in his chest. He's going crazy. Just like his mother, he's losing his mind. But his mother changed over the course of months. This is so sudden. He's never heard voices before. Or has he? That hallucination he'd have of Devon hanging. That was a voice. But that could have been a dream too. Now Cameron's breathing is really starting to get out of control, and he wants to run back to Devon apologize just so they can hold each other again. Of course, Devon wouldn't fuck with him over this. And Cameron can't understand why he thought that. It seemed like a possibility just 5 minutes ago. Something holds him from running back right now, and that's because if he's crazy, he doesn't want Dev to see it. Sure, he had a few nervous breakdowns and a panic attack in the few first years of their relationship, but that's normal crazy. This is actual crazy. It's psychotic. And while Dev would hold him, comfort him, and take him away from this place, who's to say what would happen after that? Behind his outgoing nature and warm smile, Dev would be doubting their relationship. He already has. He'd be worn down by Cameron's deteriorating mental state, his deteriorating hygiene, the deterioration of a man he once knew as the spiral into delusion deepens. Stop it. Stop it! I'm not Mom! No, but you're her son. That voice, that one that comes from inside his head. The one that doesn't feel like his inner voice. The one that won't shut the fuck up. Cameron's walking back the way he came, back towards Devon, towards what he knows is real and safe. But is he? Yes! Even though he's scared, he says it confidently. And strangely enough, he feels what seems like a pause on the voice's end. Like he's not quite sure how to respond. Good. Cameron thinks this time with his own thoughts. He makes sure to walk to the side of the road, the dusty, somewhat rocky surface, preferable to the whispering gravel. Devon keeps trying to figure out how things could have gone so wrong. His feelings earlier about an impending catastrophe failure now feel fully validated. It's happened. He took those courses emphasizing engineering ethics. He studied cases in which every step of disaster was detailed and exactly how each step was preventable. He took great care in his career to make sure he would never become one of those case studies, that the machines he helped design were as safe as possible. And while he'd already thought this, it's the fact that he didn't even know Cameron was on antipsychotics at some point. Just that he was on meds. He knew Cameron's problems were concerning, and he reassured himself with a crash course in abnormal psychology. While he never as openly disdainful as his peers, the idea of trying to explain complex behavior through endless theories was frustrating, to say the least. He chalked it up to him being one of those people who simply needed a solid answer, a number. But he also remembers those months when Cameron was on his medication, how one night he'd had Dev sit with him in the arts building on campus. It was late and no one was around as Cameron almost angrily bashed on the keys of the grand piano, asking him if any of it sounded good. Dev said it sounded fine. Then the coyote finally broke down, saying he couldn't write music anymore. That emotionally things had become black and white, that there was a wall between him and who he really was. That the medicine he was taking was the reason why he fucked up his chance with the label. It's the wrong dosage. It could be the wrong dosage. And as Cameron sobbed over the piano, Devon had decided that psychology doesn't know a thing about how people work. That psychiatrists might as well be drug dealers with an office. It had been the same for his mother after what happened to Lupita. Even now, she struggles with addictions to benzodiazepines, something carelessly prescribed to her so she'd stop wailing all the time. To Devon, it seemed like psychology never moved past lobotomies. Instead, they just converted it to pills. And he never really changed that mindset. It's why he never encouraged Cameron to seek some sort of help, especially if he didn't want it. What he took away from his research is that hallucinations of any kinds are a serious concern and should never be brushed off. But he had done just that with an idea that maybe there's more to hallucinations for some people than psychology will ever understand. Maybe it's ghosts. Devon wants to hit himself. I want to smack you too. In fact, he wishes the Weasel Man had added a kick in the nuts to go with the gut punch, something else to help him remind him how utterly stupid he is. The concept of paranormal is so far from his mindset at that point that he doubts he'll ever dabble in it again. See? There he is, dude. Devon looks up, and sure enough, he sees Cameron running towards them. A smile of relief on the coyote's face seemed to break the dam of emotions in Dev's chest. The wild look he had earlier, the one that had looked at himself as if he was a stranger, is gone. The next thing he knows, he's running too. He wonders why Cameron's running on rough rocks and thorny vegetation, but Devon joins him and Cameron runs into his chest with a thump. I'm sorry. I don't know what the hell I was... Stop, you're fine. That's all I care about. You're fine. I don't know if I am. You are. You're here. You're fine. We're gonna go home, okay? Yeah. Oh, careful! Devon, rocking them back and forth on uneven rocky ground, sends them to the dirt, and Devon just pulls Cameron into his lap, still hugging him tightly. Meanwhile, Artie is looking away, seeming to have spotted something very interesting in the miniature forest just off the road, though he's smiling. I'm sorry for bringing you here. I don't know what else to say. I'm just sorry. No, it's my fault for thinking I was special, that I had superpowers or something. None of that is your fault, okay? Cameron stays quiet, and Devon is content to just hold the coyote, both of them sniffling. Meanwhile, the coyote plucks a sagebrush that's rubbing up against them, which he holds to his nose. You know how I hate the desert? Devon tries to adjusts to the jarring shift in conversation, but goes along with it, assuming Cameron just wants to focus on other things now. I'm starting to hate it too, actually. Cameron inhales the sprig of sagebrush in his paw again. Well, I love the smell of sagebrush. The way the whole desert smells like it. I suppose it's alright. There's something about it that reminds me of Christmas. That's weird, coming from someone who grew up surrounded by pine forests. Like, when we went up to my dad's cabin. Now that's a smell I can get behind. I guess you get used to it too, and sagebrush is just different. The desert version of pine forests. Pine can grow in the desert. Then I mean the ones in the northwest. We should go to your dad's cabin again. That was fun. Oh, really? I thought you didn't like it. In all honesty, Dev hadn't either. He had meant to take Cameron ice fishing, like his father had taken him so many times. The second they got there, though, he realized how woefully unprepared he was. I complain too much, but we should go in the summer so we don't have to dig through 4 feet of snow just to open the cabin. Dev laughs at the memory of being so exhausted by the time he opened the cabin that his plans to romantically make love to Cameron went out the window the second they got in bed. Yeah, I'll ask my dad about it when we get back. I just want to be somewhere with you, away from this. Yeah, far away from this. Dev, I don't think I'm actually psychic. I hallucinated a UFO a little bit ago. That's not real. Oh, you just saw one? Well, in my mind, I was someone else. I saw a dead body and I saw spacecrafts in the sky. It didn't make sense. I see. Well, you won't have to worry about that anymore once we're out of here. I really hope, really hope we won't. Dev isn't going to ask him to elaborate or tell him that UFOs are commonly reported in Echo, especially in times when supernatural activity is at its peak. While he wants to convince Cameron he isn't mentally ill, he knows that's not what he should be doing right now. Good! Even though he wants to deny it, he doesn't know if that's true or not. He believes Cameron is psychic, but that's taken a backseat to the possibility that something else is happening too, and Dev can't be the one to figure that out for Cameron. He can only be there to support him. Oh shit! I think Artie's in the forest! Huh? Sure enough, Artie's disappeared. Oh, yeah. He'll be alright. We'll just call for him. Not really a big forest, any... Dev, that's where the shotgun guy is. Oh, fuck, I forgot. Dev stares at the tree line, hopefully. Dev, we have to get him! Well, he shouldn't be far at all. Anyway, we can warn him real quick, but let's just keep our voices down. They get up and move towards the forest. Dev wants to tell Cameron to wait on the road, but at the same time, he's worried about losing him again after finding him. Fuck. Somehow, this seemingly innocuous patch of trees is even more ominous during the day. Artie! Dev whispers loudly into the trees, holding Cameron's paw as they descend into the ditch and over onto the forest side. They only take a few steps into the trees before Artie calls back. Yo, just taking a whiz. Figured you guys want me to stare. Dude, shut up! Dev continues to shout, whisper. What's up? Devon can see movement from Artie now. Some of the bushes about 10 feet ahead of them shifting. This is where the shotgun hick yelled at us. Oh, well, I'm almost done anyway. Dev sighs, then notices Cameron with his ears low, looking anxious. You alright, baby? Do you hear, like, radio static? It's really loud. Dev listens, but only hears some wind through the trees. I think it's just the leaves, honey. But then there is something. Maybe what could be described as static. Actually, Jesus! He jumps as his phone's notification sound goes off. Well, I definitely heard that. I do think it's just the wind, though, but I'm hearing it too. He takes out his phone, seeing what an email managed to get through. Cottage Inn reservation. Important booking information. Due to the ongoing public health emergency, all reservations have been canceled. We sincerely apologize. The notification banner cuts off there, and the surreal message makes Devon feel like they're isolated from the world now more than ever. He wonders if he should try to call the police, even though he still has one bar. At this point, he'd be willing to just let the authorities know that they're stranded before anything else can happen. Then something out the corner of his eye catches his attention. It looks like the wall of a structure of some kind, beige and peeling hard to see through all the leaves and branches. Devon holds up a paw in front of Cameron, signaling for him to stay put before taking a few cautious steps further into the forest. He thinks it's a trailer. One that looks so run down, he wouldn't be surprised if it's abandoned. What unsettles him is that it's buried so deep behind the trees, it's like it's meant to be hidden. He can try to make a call further down the road, away from whatever that is. I'm here. No need to check on me. Okay, let's go. I'm gonna make a call on the road, but we're going straight. The look on Artie's face makes the bear pause. What? What the fuck? His voice is quiet, but the tone is one of confusion, shock, staring over Dev's shoulder. Devon feels dread creeping over him. Not sure how something else could be happening right now. Something terrible already has that look. Cameron stands where he left him. Oddly enough, he doesn't seem to be paying attention to them. He's staring up towards the trees, and Devon can see his eyes darting from left to right. His ears laying back and twitching like he's hearing something that's too loud. His breathing is heavy, and Devon can see his chest heaving. He's panicking again, but the reason for it is clear. And a single second is all Dev has to see it and to hear it. And then it drops onto Cameron. Cameron is suffocating. Just moments ago, he'd been grasping for breath, feeling the invisible dread creep up his back, deafening static growing in his ears. But now it's completely black and something has its limbs around him, fingers over his mouth and nostrils. He thrashes around, or at least he tries to. He goes through the motion, but there's no sensations of movement. A straining inhale of air drones right next to his ear. The next thing, pressing its head to the side of his face. Cameron begs it to let go, tries to call for help. Devon was in front of him only seconds ago, or minutes. The voices in his head returned, or hours. Or has it been years? It doesn't matter when you're dead. Missing show to work. No, sorry, it's okay. The VOD will still be here when you get back. Cameron does think that he's died and that he's in hell because of course, he'd end up here. There's no hell. There's no death. This is what happens to everyone, Cameron. Cameron realizes that it's not the thing holding on to him that's speaking to him. Because now is when it starts to speak, but it's not a voice he expects. No! Get away! A woman's voice. Stupid fucking cunt! Cheating whore! A man's voice. A shrieking thud. The tone of static changes, and Cameron knows he's listening to something different. A different moment. He's dead! You can stop now! Nah, he's still twitching. It continues. What sounds like someone screaming through a gag. A woman sobbing, a man begging. But then there's a shift. And though most of the voices were women, they became almost exclusively young men. If you let me go, I won't tell anyone, I swear to God. No me mates, por favor. Stop, just stop. The voices blend together and go on and on and on. Meanwhile, Cameron goes limp, giving up, feeling as one of the voices that comes next. Why don't you just kill me? Devon watches as Cameron's body goes limp, and though he tries to leap forward and catch him, the coyote slips to the ground at his feet. The bear instantly picks him up and tries to, though it's something he'd done many times before. He never done it while Cameron was completely lifeless, and he struggles with the coyote's dead weight. Cameron! Cameron! He lays the coyote on his back, hoping he just wakes up. What the fuck was that, dude? What the hell was that thing? Whatever it was, just seemed to absorb into Cameron, disappearing in an instant. Devon doesn't care. 2 days ago, he would have never thought he'd give almost anything to see something like that. Now, it doesn't seem to matter at all. Cameron's chest had been heaving seconds ago. Is it moving at all now? Fuck! Artie, he's not breathing, man. What do we do? Holy shit. Maybe chest compressions, right? The panic is threatening to overwhelm the bear, his peripheral vision dimming, going dark, and he has to rest a paw next to Cameron's head to steady himself. He can't pass out now. Otherwise, Cameron would only have Artie to help him. And the cat is seemingly frozen, his fingers twisting into his head fur. What the fuck is even happening? Why would he just stop breathing? Devon tilts Cameron's head back, tightens his torso so he can breathe. Come on! Breathe! Cam, just breathe, please! Devon rubs at Cameron's chest. It's such a desperate, useless gesture. Do you know how to do CPR? No! Dev readies himself, wishing he could remember a single useful thing from the one day he learned about CPR in high school. He remembers tittering. All he remembers is tittering with his classmates about the female mannequin's chest and how they had to touch it. His vision's blurred as he's uselessly places paws one over the other on Cameron's chest. And then a droning, ragged wheeze comes from the coyote's mouth. Oh my god, Cam! Another labeled wheeze. He's breathing! He's breathing, right? That's right, Cam, keep going, babe. He is, but it's still strained, like something heavy's on his chest. Not sure what else to do. Devon pulls Cameron into a sitting position, leaning the coyote against his body, and Cameron gasps. Oh, thank fucking God. Just keep breathing like that, honey. Yes. Even Artie is crying, wiping his eyes as he laughs. But just attacked him. You saw that thing, right? Or am I crazy? Devon shakes his head. I don't know what it was. I don't know. Now Devon just needs Cameron to regain consciousness so he knows he's okay for sure. Never had he seen evidence or believed that something supernatural could physically harm the living. Let's get out of this forest, dude, in case it comes back. Yeah, all right. He's very careful with how he moves Cameron, terrified that his breathing might stop again. But as he stands, cradling Cameron in his arms, he looks up. Standing 20 feet away, that trailer is another bear. He's holding a shotgun. Devon stares, feeling himself become oddly detached from the situation. His mind is still overwhelmed with what just happened to Cameron. That's what he wants to focus on, but the shotgun has his attention now. And just for a moment, Devon thinks about running. If he applies logic to the situation, he assumes the other bear won't shoot, but something in his eyes. Something is off. So Devon says what he hopes to make clear to this other bear, that they're not a threat. We need help! We're stranded and our friend is unconscious. The old-looking bear focuses on him for several seconds. Devon hears the rustling of dead leaves and foliage next to him as Arturo moves. Suddenly the bear swings his shotgun around to point at Devon's right. Don't you move, boy. Hey, I'm sorry, don't shoot. Arturo sounds terrified, his voice strained and high-pitched. The old bear stares at Artie for several seconds before pointing the shotgun down towards the ground, but only slightly. The bear gestures at the coyote. You doing something to him? What? Doing something? No, we're trying to help him. Something attacked him. We need to get him help. The older bear grimaces. What do you mean, something? Dev hesitates. At least until the gun is shifted in his direction. No, wait! I'm not waiting. You show up on my property, all kinds of sounds, making all kinds of sounds, and you're standing there like you just knocked out a yoke. Hey, we didn't do anything to him. We're just trying to help. The bear growls. I don't care if you're trying to help him or trying to fuck him. I want to know the truth. Not that something happened. The standoff continues for a few seconds before Dev jumps in again. It was something dark, like a shadow. I called it something because I didn't get a chance to see it, but it jumped on him and disappeared. Devon realizes what he's saying as he says it. Half expects to be shot for saying something so stupid. I swear to God, that's what happened. The old bear's eyes flick to Artie, and the cat quickly throws his support behind the ridiculous statement. Yeah, that is what happened. I don't know what the fuck it was, but it was there. It was dark and had red eyes or some shit. I didn't even think we should be out here right now. Devon once again wants to tell Artie to shut up. That saying anything more is only going to make the situation worse. But instead of getting angry again, an odd expression comes over the other bear's face, one that Devon can't quite decipher. Then he finally speaks, casually bringing the shotgun up to rest over his shoulder. And it just jumped on him. That yote over there? Yeah. Alrighty. So I'm guessing y'all are on some drugs or some shit. No. Using out here in this heat ain't ever a smart idea. We weren't. Devon trails off, realizing that this doesn't matter at all right now. We just need to get him some help. He's not waking up. Devon kneels, resting Cameron on the ground as he half props him up, needing to rest his tiring arms. There's a pause in which the other bear just stares down at them, a pause that's long enough that Dev opens his mouth to speak again. But that's finally when the older bear seems to break out of his trance. Shit, of course. Sorry about the gun and all. It's just that I always get a bunch of coots on my property every now and then. Devon looks up at the suddenly friendly bear. In the back of his mind, he thinks he can almost hear sirens. Very familiar sirens. Shit, not even loaded. Just not even loaded. The bear grunts as he brings the shotgun forwards, pointing it back towards the ground before it seems to break in half as the stock suddenly drops down. The bear turns to show him that the barrels are empty. Run. It actually does make Dev feel... Run! Why aren't we running? Why aren't we running? This is a random guy you found out in the woods in a trailer, hidden in amongst the trees. You should be running instead of talking to this bear. Oh my god. Oh my fucking god. That actually does make Dev feel a bit better, even if the gun had been pointed at them just minutes ago. The bear then closes it up with a snap. So, I think your best bet is to call the proper authorities so they can get some help out here. Do you know where we can do that? There's no service here. Of course there ain't. Well, there is service just outside of town to the east. Works whenever I go out there to make a call. Dev's heart leaps in his chest at the idea that it might actually be a quick way out of the situation. So many bears, aliens, and ghosts, and bears. Oh my god. He looks in an eastward direction, ready to set off immediately. Hold on, it's a little ways out there, and it's a pretty specific spot, because eastward is where the mountains are, where the fucking mines are. Oh my god, get me out of here. I can give you a quick ride, no more than 5 minutes. The bear turns away and starts making his way towards the trailer. Artie glances at him, clearly uneasy about all this. Dev is hesitant himself, but of course he would be. Anyone would be. But after everything they've been through, Dev looks down at Cameron the coyote, still breathing steadily, now looking almost peaceful. Still, fear grips the bear's chest. The fact that Cameron still isn't waking up is slowly increasing his worry to the point of panic again. So, he sets his jaw and follows you. No! We don't follow the creepy old bear in the middle of the woods. Watch. Cameron's gonna wake up, realizes that that bear is the person that he just saw murder someone and a UFO. Oh my god. He half expects Artie not to follow, but he does, and the four of them disappear further into the fucking trees. I hate this so much. Cameron's agony had seemed as if it might last forever. The feeling of suffocation going on and on, but after an immeasurable amount of time, the fingers over his mouth and nostrils have dissolved into the blackness. So did the voices, diminish into indistinguishable whispers. Now his breaths come slow and steady, but he has to focus on them, to consciously inhale and exhale so that it won't stop. While the experience is terrifying, the laborious nature of it almost ensures that he won't hyperventilate. After a time, the terror fades into a dull, hollow desperation, accompanied by spurts of panic each time he remembers he's somewhere he doesn't understand, and that he can't seem to escape it. And gradually, even that dissolves. And like a dream within a dream, it fades away. Cameron's vision is blurry at first. Oh no, I know this scene. I played through it. Cameron's vision is blurry at first, and it stays that way as his eyes remain mostly closed, unfocused. Fear hitches in his chest again before he realizes that he'd been breathing normally without the need to focus on it. That's when he noticed that what he can't see is a bit odd. It looks kind of like himself. Cameron stares, still feeling groggy and out of it, trying to make sense of what he's seeing. It's him, his reflection, but it's hard to understand why that's the case because it feels like he's laying down. At first, the coyote wonders if maybe this is the floor mirror in their bathroom and that he'd pass out. Still, the angle is wrong, and that just leaves Cameron feeling more confused. The coyote closes his eyes again, trying to remember what happened last. He also begins to wonder why he's laying on something soft instead of the cold tile of the bathroom. Nothing makes sense. So, he does the only thing he can do at this moment. Dev? He hears something shifting around next to him. Cameron tries to clear his throat, but it's bone dry, so he swallows instead. Dev? Shit. Fuck! It's a lot cleaner than the mess that we saw last time. Something is pressed to his lips, and sensing that it's water, Cameron drinks, getting several swallows before it's pulled away. Okay, this is going to be our final 15-minute break. And when we return, we're going to finish the hour. All right? So everyone, stand up and stretch and get some water because we're in for a fucking bumpy ass ride. Be right back.
me! Ah!
Thank you for the follow. Hope you stay comfy cozy in this owl cottage. We are currently in the middle of our break, so because Arches is mentally heavy. So we'll be back in a couple of minutes, alright? Sit tight. Hoot hoot. right, we're back. Also again, Murdy, thank you for the follow. You say comfy cozy in the Owl Cottage. Hoot hoots to you. All right, final hour. Something is pressed to his lips, and sensing that it's water, Cameron drinks, getting several swallows before it's pulled away. Cameron then looks on the ground, getting a full view of his surroundings. The voice hadn't sound like Dev's, but Cameron can't imagine who else it could be. And a large, furry brown shape moves into view. Cameron stares at, first wondering what could have possibly happened to Dev. Did he realize what a stupid thought that is? This is a different bear altogether. He also realized that something is definitely wrong, that either he's still dreaming or that he's in a situation he can't even begin to understand. He quickly sits up and the old bear raises up a paw. Hey, it's all right, kid. I'm here to help you. The voice is higher pitched than he would have expected from such a large creature. The coyote feels like he's heard it before, but he can't place it. Not right now, at least. I'm Brian. What about you? Cameron? Cameron responds automatically, even though a smaller voice in the back of his head tells him this isn't right. None of this is right. Well, hi there, Cameron. You're probably wondering where the hell you are, huh? Well, the bear's demeanor is friendly enough. His appearance definitely isn't. Again, Cameron desperately tries to remember exactly what happened last and where he exactly might be. You know what it is? The old image of Brian was a lot more horrifying than this one. I just think it's just Paint Fox's art style that makes it slightly attractive. Not even slightly, he is attractive. Like, to me, he is. But, like, it's definitely because he's not as bare patched. Like, the old Brian had so many patches of missing fur on him, and just like the uneasiness of like that stained wife beater tank top on him, the missing head fur patches missing, the missing teeth, the scars, everything different about this one. Because like this one is just another bear. The other Brian was horrifying to me. He was more unsettling. I don't know. Again, Cameron desperately tries to remember exactly what happened last and where he might be. He nods away, anyway, instinctively trying to keep up the facade that he's fine and that he doesn't suspect that everything is wrong. Why not figure out why he still has the mirror? He no longer has the table anymore, but the mirror is still there. Like, there's no table hanging off the floor with chains and a mirror dangling above it. It's not there anymore, but it's still nonetheless horrifying. I still remember, like, the words, like how he describes why he has a mirror above the bed, like that chain bed. God. Well, it's a funny story, but I heard some shouting outside when I went out there. I found you and your friends. You were unconscious, of course. Dev, was he a bear? Cameron looks around, hopefully as if Dev might be there somewhere with them. It's only then that he realizes they're in a trailer, and the fragments of what happened recently start to come back to him. It leaves him feeling all the more uneasy. Yeah, a bear like myself, and there was a cat too. Artie? The memories of the past day and a half come back to the coyote slowly, and with it comes a feeling of anxiety and dread. Either he's in trouble, or he was in trouble, and somehow this bear is trying to help him. Well, I didn't get his name. He just sort of ran off as I was getting there. Where's Dev? The bear, I mean, is he here? Yeah, about that. The bear shifts around on the bed he's sitting on, making the spring squeak. What happened is after the cat ran off and you were unconscious, your bear friend, Devin, right? He decided to make a run for the highway to get you help. Cameron stays quiet as he tries to absorb that. The bear sentence makes sense, technically. At the same time, it's confusing. Why would Devon leave him here alone with this bear? Now, Cameron remembers that they were on a trip of some kind. A trip to Echo. The voice. The trailer. Cameron starts looking around again, trying to spot a shotgun, but now he's starting to realize who this might be. I don't... He comes up short at a complete loss. What he wants to say is that he wants to see Dev. But if what the bear said is true, that won't be possible. Does Devon know I'm here? Of course he does. Seems real worried about you. Said he would have had the cat get help, but we're not even sure where he ran off to. Why did he run? Well... Brian pauses, seeming to think back and also seeming hesitant to say something. I hate this so much. Cameron tenses up, the feeling of wrongness returning. I don't know which Brian this is. Is this who's... I know it's supposed to be separate, like a standalone thing, but I feel like I feel a lot at ease if I know which Brian this is. God. It's kind of hard to explain, but something spooked him or something. Recalling the events of the past few days seemed to gain momentum, and now he can vaguely remember what happened just before he ended up here. He was standing in the forest, ears down, hearing that awful static, but what exactly happened after that is still a bit foggy. What was it? Well, this might sound a bit crazy, but I lived here a good while, and sometimes there's this thing in the trees that comes after me. Thing? What an odd thing to say. But then he remembers something strange right before he lost consciousness. A dark shadow dropping on top of him before he disappeared into another world, locked in that terrible embrace. A shadow? Although he says it softly, the bear clearly hears him. Cameron swallows hard, still feeling like the situation's very off, even when considering the circumstances. But Brian smiles in a way that's almost sympathetic. Did it happen to sound like static or white noise? Cameron looks at the bear carefully before he nods. Yep, seen it myself. Some of us can just see things that others can't. Cameron swallows loudly. You see things too? Yeah, always could. Don't know why. Through all the confusion and terror of all the people, this bear seems to understand that Cameron is This bear seems to understand what Cameron is going through somehow. It creates in him a sudden sense of kinship with the bear. Then Cameron remembers his phone, quickly pulling it out and holding down the power button. The screen flickers on for just a moment before multiple vertical lines of black appear on the screen, which widen steadily before the entire display goes black. Cameron's confused, then he remembers the fall in the lake, and he even sees some moisture still under the screen. Shit! Brian grunts. Huh, your phone busted? Shame. No service out here anyway. How long ago did he leave? About 2-3 hours ago. You've been unconscious that long. Still, the anxiety is telling Cameron to move, to go. I think I should go after him. Thank you for your help, though. Cameron suddenly stands, but a wave of dizziness comes over him. Oh, fuck! The coyote catches himself against the wall, feeling weak and confused. Whoa there, kid. I don't think you're in the best condition to go out there. You might pass out again, and that bear seemed real intent on me keeping you safe. Cameron has to lean against the wall slightly, catching his breath. He didn't realize that he still messed up. It would make sense since he'd been out for so long. It's just odd that it seems to be getting worse. Whatever that creature did to him, it feels serious. As if reading his thoughts, the bear brings up the entity. Besides, I don't think you should go out there while the shadow creature is still hanging around. Been seeing it through the window a few times. Don't want to scare you, but I think it wants you. Cameron glances up at the window nearest to them. Instead of the shadow, he's surprised to see Raincoat Monster just beyond the trees, partially hidden in a strange crouching position. Stranger still are the odd shivering, twitching motions the creature is making. Though its face is mostly hidden, Cameron can tell he's being looked at. Even after everything he's been through, the coyote finds himself lowering his gaze quickly. Once again, just like when he was 8 years old, he was afraid of this hallucination. Or rather, he's afraid of this imitation of the hallucination. And considering that it's moving so violently, that's what this is. You see it? No, I mean, it's something else. Oh, what is it? Sometimes I see other really disturbing stuff in these woods. Well, most place in this town is actually. It's something more personal. Cameron is caught between wanting to stay cautious of this man, but also wanting to confide in him. After the trauma of the past 2 days combined with feeling almost abandoned by its boyfriend, the coyote is desperate for some kind of connection. What kind of things do you see? Oh, once he hears UFO, he's gonna remember. Brian looks hesitant. I don't want to freak you out more than you already are. I'm okay. I'm just wondering if maybe we're seeing similar things. Cameron smiles at him, and that seems to throw the bear off for some reason. Huh, well. And then he seems to snap out of it. To be honest, I see people getting killed usually. Not sure if it's real, like from the past, or if it ain't. Sometimes it just feels like something's being made up. Cameron can understand the feeling. Yeah, Another wave of weakness and exhaustion. Sorry, I'm just really tired. Cameron slides down the wall to sit again, still feeling out of it. But at least he feels somewhat comfortable with this bear now. Makes sense after what you went through. You want my bed? I'm good. Just need to catch my breath. He's not quite comfortable with him. This is gonna sound weird too, but I see a ton of stuff in this town, and sometimes it feels made up. Like I saw a UFO, like an alien spaceship above a body today. Brian stares at Cameron. I see. Just as he was beginning to feel real comfortable, the coyote feels himself back on edge. Did he say something wrong? I mean, I don't know if it was a UFO, but it looked... You're fine, kid. It's just that I haven't known anyone else that's seen something that I've seen too. It was on that dirt road, right? Circular shape? With a bunch of red lights on it? Cameron perks up. There's little question in his mind now that this bear is definitely like him. Yeah, and like... Shit, didn't that space shuttle explode? Like in the mid-80s, I think? This time Brian lets out a little laugh of surprise. And maybe a little disbelief as well. 86, to be exact. Damn, that's crazy. I've met a few people like you, but you're on a whole new level, kid. Cameron stares back, briefly wondering if he's still dreaming all of this. God, I hope you are. God, I hope you are. It's almost too jarring trying to understand now how he ended up here with this bear. But if it's a dream, it's not the worst one. Can you really help? Can you help me find Devon? Maybe you could take me up the road to the highway and we could catch up to him. The bear leans back, scratching his head. I don't know about that, kid. He took off at a good pace. I bet he's probably already reached the highway by now. Probably in the process of all alerting the authorities. Cameron twists the hem of his shirt with his paws and feels a sickening, growing knot of worry in the pit of his stomach. Come on, just remember it. Remember what exactly you saw. He wants to go, to run and find Dev and escape this town with him, but the threat of what's out there is very real. and Cameron does not want to repeat what happened out there in the forest. Apparently, Dev already escaped without him. It makes sense why he had to leave him behind, but that doesn't mean it doesn't hurt. Only now are the memories of what happened during his blackout returning, and only now does he remember how it felt like being in hell. Can't that shadow creature get in here? No, it seemed to avoid the trailer. Don't know why. You okay? Cameron rubs his eyes with both paws. I don't know. His increasingly heavy breath prompts Brian to crouch in front of him, patting his shoulder roughly. Hey, you're fine. I'll make you something, okay? How does some tea sound? That calm always calms me down. The pat jolts the coyote back to wakefulness, and he nods, if only to get the bear to focus on something other than him. Okay. Great, I'll get started on then. Just relax for now. Please find a way out of this fucking trailer. Please send me where Devon is. Where is Devon? The wind whips violently in Devon's face. It's powerful enough that he can barely breathe. The ominous sound of sirens were really the only thing that guaranteed he'd be home as soon as he possibly could. He always took their warning seriously because what they warned of always terrified him. So now, in the haze of pain and horror, he wonders why he didn't heed the warnings. The mile-wide tornadoes that rip across the plains of his home state evoke a primal fear in him that few other things do. He felt that fear the moments before his world became a red flash of pain. Before he saw Artie crumple, lifeless to the ground at the same time a pop echoed through the air. Before he was made to drink from the plastic bottle of water the other bear had brought out of his trailer, and before his paws were tightly bound above his head. As Devon briefly comes to in the red glow of the metal container he's in, to the sound of metal chains and the feeling of cramped heat, he knows he should be doing something. He should be helping someone he deeply cares about. Lupita, Artie, Cameron. Ugh. His voice is rough, dry, on the verge of breaking. His chest feels as if it's being crushed. Devon thinks back into the darkness, even while his mind roils in terror, even as the F5 tornado continues to barrel right towards him. Cameron sits at the table as the bear busies himself near the stove top with his back to the coyote. Again, the coyote contemplates leaving, either by asking Brian again or just walking out the door. Another glance towards the window confirms Raincoat Monster is still there, this time standing high in the trees, perched on a branch, still watching. Cameron quickly looks away again. He feels deep down that if he leaves, another terrible thing is going to happen. While he believes that the bear's story about what happened, something about this trailer is extremely uncomfortable, making him even more anxious. He thinks that must have been something to do with his upbringing, the long, narrow space feeling familiar in the worst of ways. It's like suddenly falling ill and being reminded of all the awful feelings one has when they're especially sick. Meanwhile, Brian is chattering on about how chamomile is particularly effective when it comes to anxiety, and Cameron vaguely wonders why he's moving around so much if he's just making tea. Mostly, though, Cameron's trying to think clearly, get his thoughts to line up correctly through the fog he feels clouding his brain. It's making him extremely tired, and a couple of times the coyote is convinced that he's still dreaming. It's almost like he's high again, but without any of the positives of being high. His anxiety is already coming down, though, despite the worry that whatever was in that forest might have done some kind of damage to his brain. He focuses his thoughts on Devon, trying to think clearly. Would the bear really leave him alone like this? He could have at least left him a message to let him know that this is what he wanted, what Cameron is safe in this situation. But Cameron also knows that wouldn't have been all that practical. If Devon really was in a hurry, which he definitely would have been, he would have left him behind if he knew that it was for the best, and if he knew that the situation was safe. There isn't really a way he could have left a message anyway, except maybe a text, but with no phone or no service. If this Brian guy really wants to help him though, he should have gone to the highway instead. He has to have a car, right? It's not like he can just survive out here in an old trailer. Cameron fixes his face into a pleasant smile, knowing that it seemed to set the old bear at ease whenever he did. Do you have a car? Brian, seemingly absorbed in what he's doing, glances back. Well, I kind of share a truck with another guy in town. He happens to be out of town with that truck right now. Of course he would be, right? Oh, okay. Brian smiles at him again. I can see why Daniel likes you. You're a friendly kid. Oh, you mean Devon? Shit, yeah. The brain doesn't remember things like they used to. You're fine. Cameron stares at the table, feeling like that exchange was very strange. It's hard to think, though, through the cloudiness. Despite the dull anxiety, the feeling is worrying him more and more. I'm actually feeling really weird. I'm so tired. Well, considering what happened to you, that makes sense. Not to pry, but do you do any drugs? No, not anymore at least. I mean, I had some weed like hours ago, but that should have worn off by now. Brian shrugs. People always say weed ain't a big deal, but it's probably what fucked me up the most back when I first tried it. You did not first try weed. You tried meth. You tried methamphetamines. Cameron listens to the sound of liquid being poured into a cup. Yeah, I don't really like it. I don't think I like it. But I should still be high, right? You shouldn't. But after my first time smoking, I felt high for fucking years. Even when I wasn't touching the stuff. Cameron feels a prickle of worry underneath the haze. Please find a way to run away. Ears? Yep. It's what is it called? Depersonalization? Made me feel like my paws weren't my own. And everything looked weird and distorted. Like a filter was in front of my eyes. Cameron vaguely recalls some of his own friends describing the exact same thing, even when their trip was supposed to be over. He'd experienced it itself while he was under the influence of various dissociatives. Having the same experience while he's supposed to be sober is borderline terrifying, though. Weed does that? His worry now breaks through, and panic breaks through the surface for a second. He feels like, for that moment, he's surfaced from the muddy depths of this confusion before slipping back under. He can't live in a dream for the rest of his life. But what even is his life? Sitting here in a trailer with an old, slightly smelly bear? How did he even get here? Where's Dev? Oh, shit! Cameron suddenly grips the table, paws shaking as he feels as if he's lifting out of his body somehow. And that he has to hold on to something to remain in place. Hey, you're alright, kid? Here. Brian ambles over to the fridge, opening his freezer, pulls out the ice tray, and drops a few cubes into the mug, the ice clinking loudly. He stirs it for a few moments and turns it back to the trembling coyote. I hope you don't mind the ice, but it should be cool enough to drink now. Still confused and terrified and just wanting something to focus on, Cameron reaches out for the mug the bear is holding out to him. He takes it in his trembling paw and gulps it down. Why are you so trusting of this bear? Every signal points that he is bad news. It's filled with honey and the strong taste of ginger, and it's unlike any chamomile tea he had before. The amount of honey is surprising, and he briefly wonders if it's a bear thing, even though Devon never seemed to have much of an affinity for it. Still, Cameron doesn't get the full flavor of the concoction until he finishes it, and as he exhales, an odd, nutty taste mixed with what Cameron can only describe as dirt lingers on the back of his tongue. Cameron found it bizarre, terrible tea. He can't help pulling a face as he looks into the mug, a thick, round glob of honey remaining at the base with dark particles slowly collect around it. It's distracting enough that his panic attack is terminated before it can really begin. Brian laughs. Sorry about that. I like to add in kava root to soothe anxiety too. Should have warned you. Cameron had thought the taste was somehow familiar, but he supposed that any kind of root would have an earthy, bitter taste. Oh, it's okay. Just wasn't expecting it. I read about kava a few times when I was looking for ways to help with anxiety. Never tried it though. Well, I'll get ready for it to change your life. It got me off my chill pill meds. I do have some leftover bars if you needed something stronger though. Xanax? I'll wait and see. Well, that would be nice. Cameron already feels like falling asleep, so it doesn't seem like the best idea. While he mostly believes this bear story, he doesn't want to be completely unaware of what's happening right now. I'm guessing you have some sort of experience it with before? Cameron frowns at the table, not sure what to say. He doesn't really want to discuss his past with a stranger, even if the guy seems like he would understand. Brian puts his paws up like he's showing that he's unarmed. Hey, I don't judge, kid. I was into that lifestyle for most of my life before I started turning things around. Like murdering and having sex with people. While Cameron is still cautious, he doesn't want to make it seem like he's suspicious. It doesn't feel like the best idea to sour things between him and the only other person with him in the middle of the desert. Yeah, I did a bit of everything in middle school and high school. Only thing I got hooked on was opioids, though. Oof, you went half the country, kid. That's a rough one. The tiredness is starting to plateau, if not recede slightly, and Cameron feels an odd but welcome sense of empathy towards the bear. It must be the kava kicking in. Brian's face appears to be a bit more defined and clear, and there's a warmness in his eyes. It was my first drug, too. I experimented with everything else because I was trying to find something less addictive and harmful. Brian shakes his head. That's the problem with it. There ain't much out there that makes you feel that good. That's what I'm told anyways. Brian chuckles. I just took one of my dad's hydros and ended up puking half my guts for hours. Guess I got lucky at that I can't keep them down. Cameron thinks about that. About how nice it would have been if he had become violently ill, whatever he tried opioids or any drugs for that matter. Yeah, it says that's some good... I'd say that's some good luck. I quit in college and haven't done it since, though. Good for you. Brian gazes down his nose at Cameron, starting to frown. Cameron's ears twitch as he senses a sudden change in mood. Now, I don't mean to bring things up again, but did your visions get more intense when you did heroin? At first, Cameron wants to correct the bear and say that he's never done heroin, but then stops as he thinks back. Of course, his visions got worse whenever he was on a certain drug, including opioids, but he had assumed back then that they were just agitating his already present delusions. It was only today that he made the connection between drug usage and hallucinations or visions. Like maybe you were drugged just now. Yeah, actually, and a few times on other stuff too. Does that happen to you? Definitely. Again, feeling an empathy grow into Coyote's chest. There are others like him, just like... He's looking down at you so angrily. Maybe I'm not going crazy then. I keep going back and forth on that. Brian chuckles a bit. Well, not normal crazy anyway, right? Say... Brian looks carefully at Cameron again, and the coyote is almost distracted by the glow that seems to be emanating from the bear's eyes. Oddly enough, the intensely vivid and defined fur seems to be rippling, as if blowing in the wind, even though they're inside. Is this kava? You ever tried something more trippy, like acid or shrooms? Cameron shifts uncomfortably at the last word. Yeah, both. Acid was fine, but nothing weird happened. Shrooms just kind of fucked me up, and I saw all kinds of things. That's too bad. That one can be a real eye-opener. Oh. Cameron isn't sure what to say, feeling just a bit uncomfortable again. But yeah, most drugs make you see more things. Only ones that don't are stems. It's why so many people here got into meth. Brian chuckles again, but this time it sounds a bit dark, sinister even. Only problem with meth. That is, meth still makes you see shit, but only because it makes you go crazy. Arches in half circles. Yeah? Cameron looks back down at the table. He wonders about his mother again, and if maybe she was like him. Maybe she took the stimulants because she was trying to stop the visions, but ended up staring at a wave of hallucinations and delusions instead. Cameron watches the wood grain on the table shift and move slightly, like waves on an ocean. And then it hits him. It hits him hard. The aftertaste of the tea, why it was familiar, why things are moving in inexplicable ways, why everything is feeling more fucked up by the second. He's been here before. A moment seems to blank out of existence from Cameron's memory because the next thing he knows, he's already standing up, the chair sliding back behind him. He stares at Brian with wide eyes, mouth open, but he can't seem to say anything. He can't think of what to say if the bear did what he thinks he did. Brian stares back, watching Cameron carefully in a way that tells the coyote that the bear isn't surprised at all by his reaction, and that makes Cameron even more afraid. The cozy, dreamy lighting of the trailer becomes more ominous, red, and dangerous, and the bear in front of him seems to warp. There's the face. Into a demon. No! What did you give me? Cameron looks wildly at the coffee mug. You need to calm down, you understand? What did you give me? I think you already know the answer to that, so why don't you just sit down and get it together? The bear's face is warped, but Cameron honestly can't tell if it's real or not. Was this psilocybin? Did you drug me with shrooms? Brian says nothing, and he's right. He's right that Cameron knows. He could never forget this feeling. Oh my god, why? It ruined my life! Cameron is heaving for breath, the sounds of his gasping almost drowning the bear out. Sit down and I'll explain. But Cameron has no intention of sitting down. The sensations and the visuals are just as bad as the last time, if not worse. He's only at the beginning. The fear and panic reaches a dizzying level, and Cameron is running around the table for the door. Then he's on his back, his chest, spine, and the back of his head aching. Brian is on top of him, and Cameron is on his back. He can see the coffee mug shattered on the ground a few feet away. Cameron struggles, wheezing for breath. Let me go! I can't breathe! Brian responds by squeezing his arms tighter, leaning more weight onto Cameron's torso. Stop! I'm sorry! He doesn't even know what he's apologizing for, just hoping that maybe it'll get the bear to stop. And I thought you were cutie when you were smiling. That statement, for whatever reason, is the scariest part of what's happening right now. He starts to scream for the only person he can think of. Devon, help! It's about to fall! Shut the fuck up! Brian sounds legitimately disgusted as he pulls himself off of Cameron. Coyote prepares to scream again, but sees Brian's foot lash out and kick him in the side, sending him against the base of the counter. Then leaning over him with both of his giant paws on the edge of the counter, he starts kicking Cameron over and over. Cameron yelps and wheezes. The blows hard enough that he's worried that the bear's definitely going to break something if he hasn't already. He thrashes and rolls, trying to escape. Then one kick catches him particularly hard at the base of his sternum, and he violently curls up, a loud, frog-like croaking noise escaping his throat. Brian pauses as the sounds continue emanating from Cameron's mouth. Cameron can hear the bear breathing heavily over him as Brian watches his agonized writhing, almost like he's fascinated by it. After nearly a minute, the terrible noise turned back into gasps, which then turns into sobs as Cameron stays curled up on his side, one arm around his midsection, while the other is pressed over his eyes. Ryan doesn't move, just watching as Cameron cries on the floor. At first, Cameron thinks it might be better to just keep his eyes closed and try to disappear into the darkness, maybe wake up again, but in a new place this time. Anywhere seems better than here. But that's when an odd, slightly curved, glowing red lines begin expanding and shrieking behind his eyelids. And Cameron whines at the terrible reminder of what's going to happen. He's going to trip, and it's going to be terrible. Cameron pulls his paw away from his eyes and finds that what he sees isn't much better. The huge bear is crouched in front of him. His fur now is writhing, pulsating mass of a thing that almost seems like another living creature covering the bear. Listen, what you're gonna do next is determine what's gonna happen to you. This is a dream. It has to be a dream. Everything that's happened, not just in this trailer, but this whole town. It has to be a dream. A hallucination. A trick. This can't be happening. I need you to talk to some folks I used to know. If you're really one of those psychics, if you can fix my problem, I'll let you go like nothing happened. Cameron? Devon comes to again, and he blurts out the name without thinking. He's not sure how long it's been since the last time he woke up. It feels like hours, possibly even days since he was last conscious. He'd been dreaming. Something about insects crawling and biting his arms, and tornadoes, a twisting force. He realizes then that his arms are what brought him back to the waking world. They'd fallen asleep, and now the tingling is so bad that it feels like they're covered in crawling, writhing ants made of molten lead. The bear grunts in discomfort and tries to bring them down from above his head, but he isn't able to. They come up short, and he hears a rattling sound close to his ears, which twitch at the loudness. Chains? Devon freezes, keeping his eyes closed, unsure if whoever did this to him is close by. Although it's hard to think through all the haziness, the memories come back to him rather quickly. First, he remembers walking deeper into the woods before the strange bear went into his trailer to get something. He came out with a bottle of water, claiming it was for Cameron. Then, after walking further into the dense forest, they came upon a white van. The exact kind of van that would make most people suspicious. Devon did become more suspicious, but by that time, it was already too late. The old bear had pulled a gun on them, one that wasn't his shotgun, and told them both to get in the van. Artie started to run, and the other bear didn't hesitate to shoot him, aiming for his head. Devon isn't sure, but he could swear that he saw a spray of something, whether it be fur, blood, or worse, fan out from the back of Artie's head before he dropped. Devon's fingers and toes clench inward as he thinks about that moment, the sound, the suddenness of it. But mostly he remembers the way Artie fell. It was instant, like strings that held him up had been cut, crumpling so quickly that Devon isn't sure that he'd been killed. At that point, Devon did everything the old bear had told him to do, including laying Cameron on the rough desert floor. Devon tries to keep from whining as he wonders if that might be the last time he saw Cameron, and then laid down in the van, letting him bind his arms up. He thought about fighting back in that moment, but it was so quick that before he knew it, he was secured and he was made to drink from the bottle. Now, in the very center of the tornado, a twisting force. Devon clenches his eyes shut even tighter, feeling moisture gather at the corners. Around the point is equal to force times distance. But he opens them a moment later, realizing that his captor would have seen all the movements he made. Perpendicular to the force, he's alone in the van. His eyes sting. The bear realizes that he's sweating heavily, The metallic box he's stuck in is hot, almost overwhelmingly stifling. He worries for a moment that he slept through the night, and now it's sunrise and he's about to cook to death in his van. But after gauging the light, he decides it's still around sunset, just a few hours after what happened. After Artie had been killed. Shit! Devon squeezes his eyes shut again, feeling tears leak out and into the moist fur on his cheeks. He allows himself this moment, but quickly focuses again, knowing Cameron is still out there with that bear. That's enough to get a rise from Devon, one that builds into a wave into his chest, a combination of adrenaline and terror, but mostly fury. While the brutality of this backwoods bear evokes fear in Devon, it also makes him angry that anyone would feel they have the right to do what that old bear did. He opens his eyes again and takes in his surroundings. He's lying flat on his back, arms stretched above his head. He can feel that it's a pair of handcuffs that are holding him in place. There's enough give that slowly he's able to turn over on his stomach. That action is incredibly painful, and Devon can't help but grunt loudly, his arms feeling like they might fall off as they spasm. Slowly, he pulls himself up into a kneeling position, getting a better look at his predicament. He realizes then that the handcuffs are more like shackles, meant to hold bear-sized creatures like himself in place. They're bolted to the floor of the van. Devon glances up suddenly, his ears catching what sounds to be faint crying outside the van. Cameron? Devon's voice comes out hoarse and cracked once more. Was that Cameron? It sounded like him. Devon is still groggy from whatever was in that bottle of water, but he's sure he heard the distinct sound of his boyfriend's voice. The fact that it's now so suddenly absent convinces Devon that was definitely Cameron. He strains to listen for several more seconds, but can't hear anything. He looks down at the heavy chain linking the metal cuffs around his wrist. Unbreakable. Still, he finds himself foolishly yanking at the shackles, hoping there'd be some kind of give in the slightly rusted chains and bolts. Shit! Tears fill Devon's eyes, the feeling of falling forever returning. He'd felt this way only a few times before. The first time being while he was running home after he found Lupita's body. The last time being when he saw Arturo getting shot. And now, knowing that his boyfriend could be at the mercy of this bear whose intentions Devon can't even begin to guess. He just knows that they're horrific. But seeing the faces of those people, it changes something in Devon. A cool, icy calm descends on him, and he looks at the chains carefully. He's been possessed. I think. Maybe. Probably not. His classes in physics have taught him all about the way in which forces exerted can seemingly accomplish things that seem impossible. So, even while his heart hammers in his ears, and even while his brain is clouded with a dense fog of sedation, Devon analyzes the chain and the bolts holding it in place. Torque. And we are going to call it a night here, because if I continue, I'm going to spiral into what seems to be hours long until this game is finished, and I don't want to do that. Not with an Echo Project game. So, with that being said, we're going to end the stream here. I need a breather, and I need to get more water. So, that being said, thank you all for watching. I hope you stay comfy and cozy in this owl cottage. And we'll see you tomorrow for some more visual novels with Gemini Starfielder and Arden Whitefair. Okay? And again, remember guys, stay comfy, stay cozy, and always be safe. And for those on YouTube, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And hit that bell icon to get notified on the next visual novel stream. And with that, I bid you all a good night. Have a good night, everybody. Be safe.